Yo, yo, yo. Are we live? Can you man hear me? This is a different setup today, man. Different setup. If you man can hear me, let me know. Let's see if you man can hear me. We've got some audience, yes, sir. We can hear you. Bless. It's a different setup today. You know what I mean? I'm not in the studio today, man. I'm not in the studio today. I've got the Camavinga shirt. I've just bought it. It looks wavy, bro. And I've got my goat, one of the greatest midfielders we've ever seen, Paul Bill, which we'll be talking about as well today, with a special guest. You guys know him. You guys have probably seen him. He's known to be the AC Milan representative, the main AC Milan fan, the main Milan fan. And I can't lie, the moment I start clocking this guy is after I saw his Tonali rant. He had a masterclass with that one. So with no further ado, let me bring my man. Be there. What are you saying, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Should be fun.
Well, love, bro. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Listen, due to a lot of requests, popular demand. When I said I wanted to do, I tweeted earlier this week. I was like, listen, I want to do a Serie A stream. Everyone, they literally raped you, fam. They put you in there. They were like, you know what, you have to get him. So I was like, you know what, I have to.
Hey, man, I appreciate the support. You know,
I don't know if you've seen the previous streams, but before I go to the actual stream itself, I want to ask you two simple questions. I know you're a proper AC Milan fan, and now I want to know, what is your best favorite moment as a Milan fan? But by the way, hold on. Before I ask you that, how long have you been a Milan fan for?
forever, I guess. I started watching football really when I was like 11, so I guess that's what 12 years ago now. Yeah, like my first season where I really, really, really remember everything was our Scudetto season 2011. That's when I was like, okay, like I can remember specific games and moments and stuff like that. Before that, I was like watching, but it was like, okay, you're a kid, you don't really know what's going on all the time.
Why did you just out of interest? Why did you support an Italian team rather than a Spanish team or Premier League team?
Honestly, I did a Q&A like a couple of days ago, and somebody asked me, and I can't remember exactly how I came to the decision. I just remember like I think I watched them when I was a kid, and I played with them on FIFA a little bit and stuff like that. And then when I started getting more into football, like it was just in my head, like this is the only club that I want to watch. So that's it. I just became a fan.
I respect it, bro. But yeah, what's your best favorite moment as a Milan fan ever?
Ever, man. Honestly, the game last or not last season, the season before that, when we won the title, that Sassuolo game to win the title was, yeah, that was crazy. That was unbelievable. Yeah, it was incredible, especially after all that time to like finally get good again, and to culminate it in that moment, like with Inter having a chance to win the title that day and beating them to it, man, like that was just perfect. And we wiped the floor. Sassuolo had beaten us. So my first ever game at San Siro was the home game against Sassuolo that season. And that was our second loss of the year. We only lost 3 games at home the entire season, and of course, I just so happened to be at one. And I was so devastated. And then they've always been like one of our bogey teams. And then we go away from home at Sassuolo, and it was 3-0 at halftime. Like the entire game was just a party because we just wiped the floor with them.
Bro, Berardi turns into prime Neymar whenever he faces you guys.
God, man, my entire childhood, was just those stats about like he now has a better goal scoring record against Milan than Maradona. He now has a better scoring record than R9 Ronaldo. It's just every game. It was just like, he just keeps going up the ranks. It was ridiculous. Fuck that guy, man.
What about give me your before I say it, you can't mention Istanbul. Give me your worst moment as a Milan fan. To be fair, I think you were too young for that anyway.
Yeah,
right?
I was way too young for something. My worst moment as a Milan fan. We lost. I'm trying to think. We had some bad losses. There was I'll say like a period instead of an exact moment, but like after we had Gattuso as our manager, we finished fifth by like 1 point, missed out on Champions League, and then we fired him and hired Gianpaolo, and that was the first time this guy from Sampdoria, he's irrelevant now, but the point is he was terrible, and that was the first period in my life where I was here in the US, and it was a game at like 6 a.m. and I was like, you know what, I'm not waking up for that. I'm good. They can keep it. That was the first time in my life I was just like, I don't want to wake up.
What time is the games over the States? The Serie A games.
That specific, some games, most like the primetime games are like 2:45 p.m. But that game was at 6 a.m. And usually I will wake up, but they had just sucked the life out of me to the point where I was like, I'm not waking up for that. And then right after, we fired him and got Pioli, and then everything went up from there. So it was great. But that was the lowest moment of mine as a Milan fan.
Keep that Pioli thought, because I've got a couple of questions about Pioli which I'm gonna ask you. But let's just go straight to it. As you know, Serie A for the past 10 years, bro, it's levels below the Premier League. To be fair, every single league, in my opinion, is levels below the Premier League, commercially, financially, everything. But I feel like the closest competition is La Liga, but even that, you guys are closer than that. If we go all the way back, like the 90s, you man killed it. The Van Basten era, even in 2010, you guys went to two Champions League finals. The 2005, 2007, Inter Milan did their bits as well. Juve went to some finals. But over the past decade, nothing, bro. Nothing to be seen from Serie A in general. What do you think in your eyes, the main problem is?
I mean, the main problem is financially, the league is just so far behind everybody else. Like, I don't think people conceptualize how behind it is. People think it's like third. People think that revenue-wise, Italy and Spain, for example, would be close. No. Not only is it not close, we're way behind Germany, too. The Bundesliga, which nobody watches in terms of TV revenue, is still way, way ahead of Serie A. Because this is actually, it's an interesting question that you asked, because randomly I was reading yesterday about like the TV deal, for example, in the Middle East, right? The Middle East is one of the biggest Serie A regions in the world, right?
Correct.
And it used to be on BN Sports.
Yes.
It used to be in BN Sports in the US and in the Middle East. So two of the biggest regions.
It got bought last season.
Right. So they had a 5 million. So they had a 500 million deal over 3 years, I think, for the rights to Serie A in the Middle East and the US, right? And then because that whole thing with Saudi and Qatar, the be out and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So the morons in charge of the league decided that with that going on, they were going to sign the deal to have the Super Cup played in Riyadh 3 years in a row, right? And Qatar was like, okay, we're not dealing with this. So BN Sports just left the bidding for the rights, for the TV rights.
And now Saudi, the main sports channel are showing you guys, are coverage.
It's Abu Dhabi Sport now.
No, sorry, Abu Dhabi.
Listen, yeah. And it went from 500 million, right, to 75 million, the rights in the Middle East. Like, these are the kinds of people, to make that kind of decision, right? These are the kinds of people running that the league. You know what I'm saying? And you think about it, the league wasn't strong financially before when that 500 million deal was there. But imagine that completely collapses. Now you have this. Every league, every team has a sell to buy mentality. Every team, right? The only team in recent history that in like the 2010s that has had any kind of financial power is Juve, and that's because they've actually gone. They first of all, they dominated the league on the field, but they also went on all the steps and all the correct steps financially. They have their own stadium, which basically them, Udinese, and I think Sassuolo. Those are the only three teams in the entire league that actually own the stadium, right? Everybody else, so Milan and Inter, the past 2 seasons, 70,000, 75,000 fans every single week in the stadium, full, stacked crowds, and yet they still have to split the revenue with the city, right? Because they don't own the stadium. The
Ooh,
city of Milan owns San Siro.
I didn't know that. You know, that's interesting.
That's everything. That Stadio Olimpico, Roma and Lazio don't own that. The city of Rome owns that, and they have a partnership. They work together, but the revenue is not 100% for any of those clubs. So only Juve, of the big clubs, only Juve own their stadium, right?
Oh shit.
That's why they sell. That's why they sold. It's the Allianz Stadium now,
Yeah.
right? That's why they can do that. That's why they get. And even though it's 40,000, their stadium is only 40,000 seaters, which is embarrassing in my opinion. But the fact that it's only 40,000, even then, the money they make off of that is purely theirs. It's pure profit from them. You know what I'm saying?
Mad.
We fill up the San Siro, both clubs, Inter and Milan, fill up the San Siro, and they don't get all the money, right? All kinds of things. I mean, a million different ownerships from Berlusconi to then we got sold to Chinese owners, and then now we have American owners, and every single ownership has said, "Oh, you know, first step is we have to build the stadium, build the stadium, build the stadium." It looks like finally we're actually starting to go in that direction, like in a real meaningful way. That's one of the only ways. So I think two ways that the league can come back. The two ways it's lagged, and also the two ways that it can come back is you got to invest in the infrastructure, which is the first thing the Premier League ever did when it got big.
Correct.
Everybody has top stadiums, and you have to make it accessible to everybody. To me, it's like I don't even care. I'm Arab. In the Middle East, beIN Sports is a thing that gets watched. Okay, to me, I would sell it to beIN Sports. Obviously, we talked about the issues that got them out of it. But to me, I would go back to them crawling. I would literally be like, dude, we will give it to you at an unbelievable discount. I would rather take less money for all the games to be shown on beIN Sports than get more money for it to be on Abu Dhabi Sports, because nobody has Abu Dhabi Sports. Nobody's gonna watch it unless you're an existing Serie A fan who's gonna go out of your way, right?
Unless you've got the black box, which shows every single channel.
Right, but like no neutral is gonna stumble upon a Serie A game like that. You know what I'm saying?
But this season, I don't know if you know, this season the German league is not shown on beIN Sport.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. They're making moves in the right direction, because like if you look at the domestic deals, right, the TV deals for like the Premier League in England, Serie A in Italy, all the domestic deals, Serie A is very competitive. It's still fourth behind Germany, Spain, and England, but it's not that big of a difference. It's the deals around the world, the TV deals around the world that are so far behind. And I think,
go on.
I just think, when you actually watch the product on the field, the past 4 seasons of Serie A, I think it's been the best. It's been the second best league in the world, right? I think La Liga has lagged with the product on the field, right? I think it's been the second best league, but nobody cares because nobody can watch. It's not accessible. It's only started recently started being accessible.
Completely.
Yeah.
You mentioned Berlusconi's name, and I don't know if you saw the quote which came out on an Italian tweet I think a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where he predicted this in 2007. Apparently, he predicted back in 2007 that Serie A 10 years from now, 15 years from now, financially they'll be nowhere near. They'll start losing money. Premier League will start emerging as the best, which they have. The Arabs, the Saudi League, as you can see, they'll start emerging. Bro, my man predicted this back in 2007. What do you think in your eyes, as a proper Serie A fan? What do you think? How can Serie A bring the aura back to the league itself?
I think so. Okay, the fact that we've had 4 different winners in 4 years, I think that on the field, it's the aura is being brought back. In the stadiums, the aura is being brought back. Like when Milan and Inter sucked, that San Siro was 45,000 capacity, right? That's what people would show up. 45,000. That's the low. That shows you though how big those clubs are. Even when they're terrible, 45,000 people will show up. That's more than Juve Stadium, right? But now that they're actually competitive, if you just put a baseline product, 75,000 people will show up.
75.
It'll be packed. 75. That's what San Siro is. It's packed. I went there this past season to watch the Spurs game in the Champions League. I mean, it's the atmosphere is unbelievable. The aura on the field is back because there's so much more. Juve's monopoly is gone, right? And now there's every team feels like it's competitive. The attendances are sky high, all this kind of stuff. So the aura on the field is back. What's the problem is like there's so many. The social media presence is bad, right?
Completely.
Milan has gotten a little bit better, has changed its social media presence a lot, and it's gotten a lot better. It used to be just really bad. Inter's is terrible. Juve's is just too professional. Like nobody will, no neutral. It's at this point they need to understand you're not like the Milan fans are there. The Juve fans are on your account. We'll eat up all the shit you give us, right? You're trying to target the neutrals. The only social media team that actually understands that is Roma.
Okay.
Funnily enough, right? They've gone all in. Their social media presence has gone sky high since. First of all, they do all their like. Some people find it cringe. I do find it cringe, but like it works, right? They market themselves very well, and they have Mourinho who brings eyes.
Of course,
to everything he says. Everybody wants to hear what that dude has to say, even if their teams suck. Everybody wants to hear what he says, right? So they've bought into all those things. There's just not enough of that in the league right now. That's the problem. Like even the Serie A English account, right? For so long, for many years, it didn't have like it was just typos. They barely covered anything. It would go months without tweeting. This is a professional league, and this is within the past 3 years, by the way, right? And now it's finally turning around and it's getting better, but like it's still lagging so much behind.
Bro, you know how crazy it is? Yeah. I'm thinking about it. Both of your clubs had a Champions League semi-final against each other, a derby in the Champions League. Roma went to the final of the Europa League. Fiorentina went to the Conference League, but you guys got no PR to even imagine if Premier League had that exact same thing.
Yeah,
we're talking about Premier League every single day. What I was going to ask you next, if you could change one thing from Serie A, and you're like, let's say you were the president of whole Serie A, if you could change one thing about the league itself, what would it be? It can be schedule, it can be TV rights, it can be anything. What would you change?
Unfortunately, because it's Italy and it is Serie A, unfortunately, the answer has to be serious instead of like something interesting. But like, I would
give me your interesting one. What's your interesting one?
I'll do the serious one first, and then I'll do like the actual one that has to do more football. But like the serious one is I would do point deductions for racism. Like that shit's unbelievable.
Okay.
In the league, right? That's the serious one. The like more interesting one is, I mean, somebody has to do something about the scheduling. Like the teams that are on prime time, the prime time slot is like 2:45 in the US, which is I think
7:45.
7:45. Yeah, 7:45 in the UK and 8:45 in Italy. Like it's almost always wrong. What is
what is it only the big teams or is it the low teams?
No, it's just not the game that you would pick to put in that spot. Usually. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll have like the Rome derby at 12 p.m. It's like what the hell? Like what? Why? 12 p.m. here. Sorry. And it would be like in the middle
5
of
p.m.
the day.
5 p.m. in UK time.
Yeah. Like why? Like put that damn thing in the prime time slot. There's too many games where there's too many times over the week where it's like all the good games are on Sunday, nothing is good on Saturday. It's like you have an opportunity to split them apart, get people to watch, the best teams on different days. Instead, they stack them all up together on the same day. Nobody's watching that.
Bro, it's what Premier League does best. I think what is it called? Sunday thing. What is it called?
Sunday Night Football or something.
Sunday, it's Sunday 4:30 p.m. Everyone knows it's a big kickoff, and even but the thing is, I reckon that's with every league though. Like La Liga, I remember Clasico at 3 p.m. Bro, it pissed me off. Yeah. But I get it. Sometimes I get it because they want every single country from everyone just to watch it. So I hear it. But yeah, you know what? I hear it. Still.
They had one time when they were so Inter and Milan at one point both had Chinese ownership. So they were going hardcore into like the Chinese market. And they did a derby at 6 a.m. here because it was prime time in China. So I had to wake up at 6 a.m. and watch that. I remember that. They don't do that
to watch a game, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Bro, I stay late. I stay late to watch NBA games, but 6 a.m. Imagine waking up at 6 a.m. Well, did you win or did you lose?
No, we drew 2-2, but we had a 94th minute equalizer. Christian Zapata. I'll always remember that.
Zapata, the Colombian.
Yeah.
But let's chat. You know what? Let's chat about your team. Let's chat about Milan. Let's chat about AC as well. AC Milan. Let's chat about AC Milan. You guys, bro, I remember you guys. You guys were my childhood. You know, whenever you go to Serie A, that's I don't know. For some reason, it's always AC for me
For
because of
sure.
Kaká, my dad with Van Basten, and then man, you guys started your main era, your main dynasty was of course in the 90s. You guys won 4 out of 5 Serie A's. You go to the 2000. Like I said, you only win one Serie A, but you go to two Champions League finals. You win 3 Champions League finals. Three.
All right.
You
2003 as well.
2003, 2005, 2007. 2010 was Latan and Allegri. You guys win the league. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys finished second the season after.
Yeah. We finished second to an unbeaten Juve team. They went and they still cheated us.
That was Conte's first season.
I think it was his second, maybe. I don't know. But they went invincible and they still cheated us. I don't know if you've ever seen we played them. We were up 2-1. This is when we had a lead at that point in the table. We were up 2-1 and Ali Sulimuntari, I don't know if you remember him. He scored. He scored well. And then Buffon cleared. There was a guy. This is before goal line technology. There was a referee right on the damn goal line.
Oh,
you've seen that picture, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Buffon kicks it out. We don't win. It was going to be 3-1 right there. It ends up being a 2-2 draw, and they come back and win the league.
I remember that was where it all started with a goal line. I remember that. Bro, it went clear inside as well. I remember it.
And that's why Italy was one of the first countries to do. That's one thing I'll give Serie A. The only positive it has is it's always ahead on technology. We were like the first of the top 5 leagues to get goal line technology, and we were by far the first to get VAR. Oh, and the semi-automatic VAR, the one where it's like it'll show you exactly where the guy was. The one they used at World Cup, we have that too. That's awesome. That's been awesome.
Fair, to be fair. And then of course, 2 seasons ago, you guys, of course, win somehow. You guys win. I watched that season. You guys somehow win it with Pioli. My first question, bro, it's not even that. My first question: why the hell did you guys sack Maldini? I want to know. I'm not even talking about the team now. I just want to know. My first question is straight. Why the hell did you guys sack your icon?
The rational reason is that every time there's a new ownership, they want their own guys, right? So every time a new ownership comes in any club in any sport, they fire who's there and they bring in their own guy, right? They took over last year, and I believe they wanted to do that from the get-go. They did not want Maldini, right? Because he wasn't their guy. But we had just won the title based off of his signing, so they couldn't justify it, right? So they gave him there was a whole saga that summer. The first month of the summer basically was them negotiating with Maldini and Massara, his second in command, basically, on renewals, right? Eventually he gets renewed and so on, and we get a 50 million budget fresh off of winning the damn title. Okay, 50 million budget, and I remember we won the title, and it was like the positive of winning the title. We won the title way ahead of schedule because we had like significant holes in our team and still won the title, right? So it's like if you just plug the holes, we could dominate the league. You know, we could win 3-4 in a row. We obviously didn't do that with that 50 million. We gambled it all on Charles de Ketelare, who didn't work out. And that was our big gamble. That was 30 of the 50 million was spent on him, and he was terrible. No goals, 1 assist the entire season. And that's the rational reason of he didn't want him from the beginning. He keeps him on because we had just won the title. We have the only Maldini had been here for 4 years, and that was the one bad transfer window he had. And it just so happens to come at that moment, right? Under that scrutiny, and he gets fired. That's the rational reason for why he did it. But
the worst thing about it, you guys fire him after reaching the semi-final of the Champions League. The last time you guys even got to that stage was back in 2007, correct? Right. When you guys won it,
right? And the thing with that is like that's the fact. Like those, that's what the people who support that decision. That's the way they lay it out. That's the factual truth of the statement. But the problem with that is like, okay, you would want your ownership to be like, we're not going to judge this guy on 1 year. We're going to judge him on 4. And you look at the 4 he's been here, our entire spine of the team and a core that really works. You know, like Mike Manyan, Tomori, Teo Hernandez, Benasser, well, Tonali back then, Leao. Like that's a core. That's like 6-7 guys where it's like we could build a team around this. We have weaknesses, but it's only 3 or 4 players you need, and you ascend a level, right? That work under a budget, right, is tough to do. You would like the ownership to look at all of that, but they didn't. They just fired them. That's why they're stupid. That's the end of the.
Do you think you'll play next season? Some players, of course, who extended the contract, like Leao, Super Mike, and them, man. Do you think they'll feel betrayed or some other shit for next season, or do you think this is fine?
I think results will dictate that. If this is the ultimate, this is the fact of the matter. I'm pissed that they fired Maldini, and I'm pissed that they sold Tonali. But at the end of the day, if they come out and win 8 of their first 10 games, I'm gonna be there with my thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's gonna be the same thing with the players. I do think when they all heard the news, because all of them extended except for Mike Manyan, who they're trying to extend him now. But they all extended with Maldini, right? Leao was the last one. He took almost a year to extend, and it was a constant process. And to be fair to him, the entire process he reiterated the entire time, I want to stay here, right? He constantly said it. Every time there were rumors that, he wanted to go to Chelsea, he wants to go to Arsenal, he wants to do this and that. Every single time, him and his agent and his family all the time said, we want to stay here, right? And it took a while because he had this pending case with this legal case with Sporting Lisbon and all that stuff. There was that whole stuff. But it took a while. And eventually they re-signed him on 5 million a year, which Serie A wages are reported like after tax, but it's like ridiculously low. Like he's making way less than Lukaku, way less than Lautaro Martinez, like a lot. He's making way less than
MVP of the season.
MVP of the damn league is making way less. That shows how much he wanted to stay here, right? And that shows how well of a job Maldini did to keep him here at that budget, right? So, and literally he signs the contract and like 2 weeks later Maldini's gone. So I can't imagine. He hasn't said anything. He tweeted the day that happened.
There was a couple of players who did it. Like Mike Magnan did it. A couple of players did it.
I think a lot of it was very well documented that Maldini had a really good relationship with everybody. Like Maldini was not your traditional sporting director, nor should he be, obviously. Like he was at training every day. He had personal relationships with all these guys. When we signed Teo Hernandez, sporting directors like Michael Edwards and like the guys at Liverpool and City and whatever, they're on the phone, they're talking to people, they're all that stuff. No. This dude flies to Ibiza, sits down with Teo Hernandez and convinces him to join. Because it's like that's the main benefit of having Paolo Maldini as your sporting director. It's not some random white dude in a suit. It's Paolo Maldini, who you've been like looking up for, looking up to the right, and he shows up to convince you, a random footballer or a young footballer, you need to come here, and I will you know what I'm saying? Like everybody said it. Tonali, even when he left, he said, I had a really close relationship with Maldini. Everybody has said, like it's very well documented. I don't know if they'll like full on want to leave, because again, if the results are good, they won't.
It depends,
yeah. But I can't imagine. But they were definitely shocked and not happy by it. Everybody was shocked. That's the thing. Like even there were reports like it's not like the general consensus was everybody knew he was going to get fired. No. The people at Casa Milan, like the people in the building, didn't know. It was a shock to everybody from top to bottom, except for probably the owner and Forlani, who's like the CEO, the close guy with the owner. Those are probably the only 2 people who legit knew what was going to happen.
Bro, I read it on Twitter. The first moment, I was like, how the hell are you guys sacking him after winning the Serie A and getting you guys to the Champions League semi-final? It's mental to me. But you mentioned Pioli earlier, yeah? Most Milan fans, they're not a fan of Pioli. What's your thoughts? Bear in mind, yeah, he won you. Let me put some context into that account, yeah. He won you 2 seasons. I get it. The playing style is awful. It's horror. It's horror. 2 seasons ago, he won you the league. Most of your players weren't even that highest performing, bro. What last season? Disgusting. What's your thoughts on Pioli, just as a manager for you guys?
So okay, I've always been a Pioli defender, right? I've always been a pro Pioli guy. This past season, towards the end, I was like, if they want to sack him, I can't complain, right? I've always been pro him, but he made some decisions towards the end of the season this year that just didn't make any sense. His persistence to play Junior Messias, which is one of my famous rants, nobody could understand it. There had to be something behind the scenes that we don't know, but like nobody can understand it from a footballing level. The one thing, when Pioli first came in, he had a famous quote, which everybody made fun. So when Pioli, let me give the context. When Pioli first joined,
we'll be back or we'll fix it, something like that.
No, he said, "I know what needs to be done."
He
said that, and everybody laughed at him because when he joined, the day they announced he was joining, Pioli out was trending everywhere, right? People before he even joined, everybody was out on him, right? And he joins and he says that, and everybody ridicules it. And we go on a meteor. We start with him, and it was bad, and we lost 5-0 to Atalanta. Sorry, that's actually a good answer to when you said what's the lowest moment as a Milan fan. We lost 5-0 to Atalanta. Okay, and I don't like geographic. I don't know if you know this, but like geographically, Bergamo, which is where Atalanta are from, is right next to Milan. Okay. Right. So it's like a tiny bit of like a geographical rivalry.
Yeah.
So to lose 5-0 to them was insane, right?
Well, San Siro away from home.
No, it was away from home. Thank God. Oh my God, somebody would have died if it was at San Siro. But anyway, they go. So that was the beginning of Pioli's time. Then we have COVID, right? And they come back, and the team, and we signed Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Sorry, that's like a key piece of the whole thing, 100%. Right? Signs Zlatan, which I was very against at the time, but anyway, I was turned wrong. I mean, he was coming off an ACL and MLS. I thought he was done, but
captain hype, man, leadership hype.
Man, he came back, and we came back from COVID, and the football they were playing Leao wasn't really a starter at this point yet. It was Rebic, Ibra, Hakan, all these different guys, like Kessie. Kessie had Frank Kessie, who in the previous 2 years he had been signed for like 30 million, and I always was a supporter, but I could say he wasn't like lighting up the world, right? I don't know what happened when he saw Pioli's face, but man, he immediately became one of the best in the league, and in my opinion, for those 2 years, he became a
box-to-box advanced playmaker. Man, he was getting inside the box. All the penalties. Why was he? By the way, why was he your main penalty taker as well?
He was our main penalty taker, but when Zlatan came in, they gave it to Zlatan for a bit, and then he missed like 3 penalties, and then they finally were like, okay, that's enough respect. Can we just give it to Kessie so he can score? But yeah, Kessie became, in my opinion, the best midfielder in the league in those 2 years, and just led by that, we played amazing football in the bubble. We climbed. We won so many games. I know. I mean, it was. You know what I'm saying. At the point, but like we beat one of the defining moment where it was like this is a little bit different because we had like those fake like couple months where it's like, oh, we haven't lost a game and whatever. Like no, but the defining one was Cristiano Ronaldo and Juve come to the San Siro, and we go down 2-0, right, and we come back and beat them 4-2, like wipe the floor with them after that 2-0. And it was just like, from then on, it was just win after win after win after win after win to end that season. We finished that season sixth, and Pioli was an interim, right? Pioli was an interim. This is actually right. So Pioli was an interim. And at that time, we had a different American ownership who wanted to fire Pioli and Maldini and bring in Ralph Rangnick. Right?
Oh, for fucking!
They wanted to bring it. So the plan was to bring in Ralph Rangnick to do both, be a sporting director and the manager, to replace them both. But in that 6-month spell, they did so damn well. Like the play was so good. that they decided to revert. Thank God that was Elliott. Elliott was the only smart ownership we've had in 10 years. Because even then, they got out of their way and they were like, hey, they're getting results. We have to stick by them. So they stuck with Maldini and they stuck with Pioli and they gave them another season. And then that year, we get second place. We led the league for the first half of the season, but we didn't have enough juice yet. There was a little bit we didn't have as much depth. We ended up losing the title to Inter, but finished second. And then the year after that, we win the title.
The full load.
Right. And then this is my problem. Everybody who watched us last year, yeah, the style of play was disgusting. But that is after losing Hakan for free, losing Kessie for free, right? Losing Romagnoli for free. And he wasn't a starter. That's what Milan will tell you. It's like, okay, cool. He wasn't a starter. But as a third center back, if you can bring somebody on, he went to Lazio and was one of the players of the season. Right?
And he was a captain before that, no?
He was He was also our captain. Yeah, he went to Lazio and he proved that he was plenty good enough to be on a team that finished second. Lazio finished second last season, and he was our third center back. To have a guy of that quality be your third center back, that elevates everybody.
Absolutely.
And then none of your center backs can have a down month. They can't be bad for a month because this guy's right behind them, ready to take their spot.
That's why tomorrow this season his performances dipped massively.
I think, but that's the thing. It's a combination of everything. Having Kessie, the best defensive midfielder in the league, leave, and we basically replace him with nobody, right? We lost that defensive presence in midfield, and the defense was constantly exposed throughout the season. So all these kind of things. Like I said, I was fine with them if they fired. I was fine with the decision to fire Pioli because one thing with him was, his main asset when he first joined, we always used to say this, is that he always made the right decisions. He would bring a guy on and you'd be like, why the fuck is he coming on? Why is Sam? I remember this specifically. Last year, the title winning season, the year before, we're down 2-0 to Hellas Verona. This is towards the beginning of the season. And he brings on Samu Castillejo, who was the most farthest, he was the third or fourth right winger, right? He hadn't played in so damn long, right?
And he's dead as well, man. He's dead.
And he randomly brings him on against Hellas Verona, and he ends up winning a penalty and putting in a cross that ended up in an own goal to win it 3-2, right? And he was just his first 3 years purely as a manager, he would make these decisions, and everybody on the timeline would be like, "What the hell is he doing? Why is he playing this? Why is he starting this guy?" And then immediately you would be proven wrong. For those 3 seasons, everybody was like, "Trust Pioli. Whatever the fuck weird thing he does, trust Pioli." Right?
What about now, though? So now you guys are just giving hope.
Now it's that's why I said it. Now this past season, he just made decisions that didn't make sense and that weren't supported by logic or weren't supported by we had Malik Chow, right, who came in towards the end of the season. Towards the middle of the season, and we were begging. We had injuries to both Tomori, we had injuries to Kalulu, and Kjaer was coming off an ACL. So we were begging, hey, play this young kid that we signed for $7 million. And I know he hadn't had a lot of top experience. His main season was in the second division of Germany with Schalke, right? But still, man, give the kid a chance. And he didn't until it was until we had collapsed in January, and he finally threw him in there, and the kid was amazing. He was incredible, right?
Yeah.
And things like that. Things like never playing Yassin Adli. Yassin Adli came in as one of the highest rated young midfielders from Bordeaux. Right. Yeah. And it's one thing when we were the title winning team and Yassin Adli comes in and he doesn't play. That's fine. Because we were winning and we had guys who were doing it. Right. But when Yassin Adli did come in, we were a team in disarray. Give him a goddamn shot. Even if it doesn't work, nobody's going to, if he sucks, nobody's going to blame you. But just put him on the field just to see. And he never did.
And what, you sold him or loaned him out this season to a German club?
No, Yassin Adli's still here. What are you talking about?
He was saved this season?
Yeah. This season, he just never played him.
And he didn't play?
Nope. He had exactly one league start. And it would last 60 minutes, and then he got taken off. And he basically got a lot of not games where he just didn't play at all. And if he played, it was like 9 minutes at the end of the game, 11 minutes at the end of the game. And he would always bring him on when we were losing by like 2-0. And it's like, why are you
How
throwing the
can you,
kid?
yeah, how can you expect him to make it to pretty much make an impact? In
Right.
that case, my next question: who this season, beside Brahim Diaz, who in my opinion had a good run towards the end of the season, who was your best performer then? Like, give me three in your eyes, your best performance for this season.
Some people will disagree with this, but I mean, obviously, Leao's number one. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Leao is by far the best player, and in my opinion, the best player in the league. But Leao number one.
I'm gonna come to that. I'm gonna come to that.
Yeah. So Leao number one. In my opinion, it was Tonali number two, right? And if I have to say, I mean, maybe Teo Hernandez number three. Teo had a
It's been poor, man.
yeah, he had a down year in comparison to his 2 years where he finished second and won the title. But even then, like I saw when that English reporter who said that Tonali was our best player, which obviously was an insane thing to say because Leao was clearly our best player. And there was a bunch of people who were like, he wasn't even top five. I'm like, man, shut the hell up. What a ridiculous ass opinion to say.
People said, okay. Let me ask you then this. A lot of casuals, a lot of people decided to pretty much jump on board with it. People said he's not even the best midfielder. And Milan.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think there's nuance to that conversation. Ismail Ben Nasser is amazing, right? And if you say Ben Nasser is more talented, yes, 100%. The things Ismail Ben Nasser can do on the football, Tonali can't do. I agree, right? Actually, very few players can do the things he can do on football, right? If you want to say that going forward in the next 5 years, Ben Nasser will be better than Tonali, that might be true. They're good players, very close. But in our Scudetto winning season, Tonali started 31 games and Ben Nasser started 15, right?
Ooh.
And Kessie was the number one guy. He was the undroppable. He'll always play. And then next to him, it was Tonali in that season. And then this year, Tonali was significantly better, in my opinion. Again, conditioned by the fact that sometimes Ben Nasser has injury issues, right?
Yes.
And everybody just says, oh, it's the injuries, it's the injuries. Well, at some point, if you can't show up on the field, you're not better than the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the fact of the matter. This past season, it's the same thing. Like, okay, Mike Maignan is factually our second best player, right? In terms of quality, right? But a goalkeeper missing 25 games in the season
is a problem.
Yeah, like I can't. He was not our second best. That's what Patrick Kendrick or one of those Italian reporters or whatever, he said that no, you can't be a goalkeeper, miss 25 games in the season, and you're a second best player in that season. You're not. He's our second best player quality wise. But he didn't. Half of the season was lost because of his injury. You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point, over the past 2 years, Tonali was there when it really got down to it. Like everybody can show me their radars and oh my God, look at this spike and whatever. That's cool. But when it really came down to it, Tonali started every single game almost in our title-winning season, and Ben Nasser didn't.
First,
that's just the fact of the matter. Like
you spoke about Leao. Listen, I love Leao. Where do you? And by the way, don't give me this biased nonsense. Yeah, where do you think Leao ranks amongst the best wingers in the world?
I don't think this is biased, but I mean, okay, so like everybody, let's say who he's always compared to. He's compared to Vinicius. He's compared to Kvara, Martinelli, these guys, right? The left wingers. There's a big group of them. Okay, he's obviously not better than Vinicius because Vinicius. But nobody, to me, in that conversation, nobody gets to talk to Vinicius because he's the only one who's done. He has more production than everybody and has done it at a higher level than everybody. So he gets to say by himself, right?
Facts.
Cool. But beyond that, there's nobody I'd take after him. But better. In my opinion, there's no.
Okay. Hold that thought. I said a couple of weeks ago, and I got cooked by I think by the Premier League fans who don't watch Serie A. I said it was a question of start, stop, sell. Rashford, Kvara, and Leao. I said the easy starter is Leao, and I would sell Rashford, Kvara, and then Rashford. Everyone, all the Premier League heads who don't watch Serie A, they're like, oh, how can he do X, Y, and Z? Leao had a bad performance against I think in the La Liga, he was in Serie A, he was inconsistent compared to the following season. Leao and Rashford is a big difference in my opinion. But in terms of Kvara and Leao, like, are they close?
They're close. They're close. I mean, Kvara. I'll give Kvara the thing is like it was his first season in Serie A, first season in the top 5 league. Period. To show up and do that, what he did, like, fair enough. He was amazing, right? I remember I did a Serie A preview, and I had obviously never seen him. But in my defense, nobody has, and everybody who had pretended that they knew, who pretends they knew, nobody knew. You didn't watch the Georgian league, right? I said, I don't care how good this kid is. He's not going to be better than Lorenzo Insigne. And I was completely wrong. He was way better than Lorenzo Insigne. Right?
That's a stinker.
Right, but how would I know? Because I knew that Lorenzo Insigne had given me 19 league goals like a couple of years ago. And this kid, who the hell was he, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. He turned out to be amazing. But to me, it's as simple as like, Leao is at, I genuinely believe this. Leao is at 50% of his ability. There are so many things that Leao can't do, that Leao should be able to do, but he can't. There are so many things. He still can't shoot. Genuinely, he cannot shoot a football, right? His shooting technique is disgusting. He can't head the ball despite being 6'2". He has 2 headed goals in his entire Milan career, and one of them was a fluke, right? So, and he should be able to dominate every single fullback, given how much taller he is than them. So there are he doesn't work off the ball. All these things are true. So he's at 50% of what his natural God-given ability allows him to do.
He's still one of the best.
And still, exactly, and still, he'll give you 15 league goals, the most dribbles in the league. And this is another thing, right? Nobody considers, when you talk about Rashford, when you talk about Kvara, when you talk about Vinicius, when you talk about Martinelli, all these guys, tell me the best attacking player they play with. Martinelli plays with Saka. Vinicius plays with Benzema. What's his name? Kvara plays with Osimhen.
Victor Osimhen, yeah.
This guy plays with Olivier fucking Giroud, who can't move. And I say that because Giroud is our second best attacking player. That, you know what I'm saying?
And that speaks volumes by itself.
Exactly. And the main point, and I say that specifically because Leao, I don't think people realize this until they watch him a lot. Leao is a create first player. When he scores, it almost looks like he scores by accident, right? All he wants to do genuinely is beat his man and give it to and
cross it,
make the assist. That's what that's how it brings him joy in his life.
It's the biggest example is what he did against Napoli in the Champions League.
Exactly, right? That's his game. He wants to do that. But the 3 guys in attack around him are so damn bad, flat out, right? That he has that part of his game is minimized. He gets 10 assists. He could get 20 if he had somebody who actually. If he played with Osimhen, oh my God, the way the field would open up for him. A guy who can actually run in behind, and a guy who commands like actual attention. The way if you watch a game, Leao gets the ball, freeze the frame, any Milan game, the entire pitch is tilted all the way to the left.
Facts.
Because nobody gives a fuck what Junior Messias is going to do, right? You can swing the ball over there. We're like, let him cross. No opposition team gives a fuck what he's going to do, right? If we're linked with like Samuel Chukwueze, right? Could you give me somebody who's going to actually do something on the ball when all that attention is Leao? The team would open. Because you can't leave Chukwueze wide open, right?
You can't. Bro, it's like the second leg against Inter. Right. You knew what your game plan was even before the game had even started.
Exactly.
But then again, one of my reasons, the reason why Leao's performance has dropped is because the person behind him, his performance has dropped massively this season. Theo, what's happened? What in your eyes? What's happened to Theo this season? Is it complacency? Is it I think on his day, Theo is should be the best left back in the world.
I think he is regardless, but yeah, I agree.
Who's up there?
He's up there. To me, again, it comes down to he does things that nobody else can do.
That's
like
correct.
When you see him getting the ball and running up the field, dribbling past 3 people and scoring, it's just like, who the hell else is doing that?
Frank Garcia, baby.
Oh, come on, man. No, but
Next season, you're about to witness some Frank Garcia magic.
Man, I'm about to witness Camavinga at left back again. No, but in honesty,
Hey, chill out on that one. Chill out on that. Carlo, chill out till I hear this. Chill out.
I think with Theo, it's a combination. He started the season really well, right? And then he goes with France, plays the entire season. Plays the entire World Cup, obviously. And I do think he had a physical decline. I think a lot of the players actually, in January, our team collapsed, right? We came back from the World Cup 5 points behind Napoli, and we ended up 20 points behind them. So everybody has spoken about the fact that there was a really big physical collapse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our medical staff has been bad for as long as I can remember being a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just didn't have the depth to rotate guys as much as we needed to, or to get results when we rotated guys. So there was a physical decline. But at the same time, again, Theo suffered, I think, tactically from the same thing a lot of the other players think. Frank Kessie was a default left back at times, right? He was the left midfielder, and when Theo and Lea doesn't work off the ball, right? And Theo was basically playing as a winger, right?
And then
Somebody had to go.
Kessie would drop back.
Exactly. Kessie would take that position, and so once he leaves, it goes to that responsibility. Tonali gets shifted from the right midfield to the left midfield, right? And he has to take that responsibility. And he's not as good defensively as Frank Kessie, flat out. He's just not as physical, right? And so Tonali had to stop. Theo had to not go forward as much, right? And you saw that a lot in the season, especially against Inter, for example, right? In that derby semifinal, both legs, you're just constantly shouting like, "Go forward, because you know when he gets the ball and there's space, his natural instinct is always run. He just starts running, by hook or by crook, he's running. But he didn't do that a lot of time in the season because he recognized that the guy behind him, the support isn't there anymore.
It's not there no
Not
more.
in the same way. And by that same token, that also hurt Tonali. Because Tonali used to be the guy who bombed forward from midfield, and Kessie would be the one to stay back. And now Kessie's gone. Now Tonali has to be the one to stay back. So that minimized his attacking, ability. It all comes from the fact that we basically lost a defensive midfielder and never replaced him with somebody.
Never replaced him, bro. You guys replaced him with Krunic every now and then playing him. That was disgusting. Speaking of Tonali, actually no. Before we speak to Tonali, let me ask you a question. Zlatan, when he left, not left, when he retired, what was your? Were you sad, emotional?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was
relieved. What was it?
No, I mean, I was glad that he ended it at Milan, right? Because his entire career before he came back to Milan the second time, his entire career was like a journeyman, and like you didn't know what club did he really resonate with. Like when he retired,
Inter, you had Juve, you had Barca. Exactly. I hear it.
You know what I'm saying? Like when he retired, but up until that point, when he retires, who's the one club you're going to think of him in?
AC.
It might have been, but before he came back, it might have been PSG, right? Right before he came back, because he only had 2 years at Milan, right?
Correct.
But then he comes back, and in the manner that he comes back, first of all, he comes back and he's like, first he still had a lot to offer on the pitch before the injuries took that away, right? But when he first came back, he was incredibly prolific. In the first half of the season that we finished second, when we were leading the league, it was like a brace every game. It was unbelievable, right? And so he came back and he had actually something to contribute on the pitch. But he came back, and I love this interview. He gave an interview with CBS one time, and he said, this was last year when we were winning the title, and he said, we're a team without stars, right? At that point, Leao was still, he was still starting to get that ascension and stuff like that. But he said we were a team with no stars. So the guy who's interviewing was like, I mean, you're on the team, right? Like you're a star. And he's like, no, but this is different. The first time I came, this time I'm back to give. I don't have anything to take. I just have something to give. And every single player, we had a very young team. I think we were the youngest Scudetto winners maybe ever, right?
What lost? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, we have a very young team, and all the young players, bar none, they swear by him. they all say. I mean, Tonali was crying at his
Of course.
retirement. Like, you ask. I remember there was an interview with Brahim, and they were just like, or sorry, it was Leao. It was Leao. They had an interview with Leao, and he was like, how's your?" This was like a couple of years ago, before he really became a star. And he was like, "How's your, adjustment to Milan and all that kind of stuff?" He's like, "Oh, it was a bit tough. I wasn't playing as much or whatever." And he, by himself, nobody prompted him. He just said, and then Zlatan came. And then Zlatan came, and he's been like a big brother to me. Everybody says that. Brahim Diaz had an interview just like that, where he was saying,
which player was it that said, "We've got two managers. We've got one outside
Teo.
and one."
Teo
Who was
said
it?
that.
Was that Diaz?
Yeah, it was Teo. It was Teo.
It was
Hernandez
Teo.
said that.
It was Teo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody says that, by the way. Everybody says that. That says when Zlatan would go out injured and he would come back to training with the group, like, the trainings would go extra. The trainings would be extra intense. Because if he didn't like some shit, he would fucking let you know. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't give it your all from at any point in the training, he was gonna let you know. And he had the cachet to do that. Like, nobody could deny his input. Because if he came back and he sucked, he wasn't a good footballer anymore, nobody would have listened to him.
And he's the only person that you can't even respond back to.
Right. Because he was giving it to you on the field still, and he had all the trophies and all the legacy.
And it's just Zlatan itself, bro. He's a scary character, bro.
And I think him specifically, like, he might be, everybody Milan Twitter at sometimes overestimate, like, they go like, "Oh, Zlatan's the real manager of the team." That's not the reality, right? Zlatan is the coach on the field. I agree with that. But what Zlatan did that helped Pioli the most is, I think Zlatan bought into what Pioli wanted, right? Mm-hmm. He came in and Pioli earned Zlatan's respect. And if Zlatan respects Pioli, none of you other people can. You know what I'm saying? If Zlatan is buying into, we have to press, we have to play like this, we have to play like this, can Leao say, "No, I don't like that style"? Can Rebic say that? No, because Zlatan is the leader and he's bought in. You can't not buy in. You haven't done shit that he's done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You haven't accomplished anything. You can't go against him. So you can always say to a manager, I don't want to play your style. But you can't say that to Zlatan. And if Zlatan believes in style, everybody's gonna go with it. Yeah. I think that was his main contribution, is he bought into Maldini as a sporting director, he bought into Pioli as a coach, and everybody followed. That was his biggest.
No, I hear it. And this season, of course, is replacement. Not replacement necessarily. He was injured throughout the whole season. The person who took over is, of course, Giroud. That's always this. The thing is, there's always this narrative about Giroud. It's either he's underrated or he's overrated. I'm part, before you say your answer, I'm part of the people who initially, a couple of seasons ago, I thought he was underrated. But now, I honestly think he's one of the most overrated players we've seen. Where do you stand? Are you in the part of the middle? I don't think you are. I think you must be where I am, part of the overrated bunch.
So it's like, okay, the people that say that he's like one of the strikers of the generation, yeah, I mean, that is some of the biggest load of crap I have ever seen him at. We won a league title, and our star striker scored 11 goals, right? Now, the reason we were able to win the title is because he scored 11 and Zlatan scored 9 and Rebic had like 4. So you end up having like 23 goals from striker, which if you put it like that, okay, it's enough, right? But no, he was not exceptional last season. He had the biggest moment of the season, down 1-0 against Inter, with Inter having the chance to put a 7-point.
Yeah.
He scored the first, and there's now a chant about it. Sejaratu Giroud. He spun De Vrij and scored. He gets all the. I know he scored a brace against Sassuolo to win us the title, so he gets the credit for being there in the big moments, right? But he was not out of this world. He was not one of the best strikers in the world. He was none of that, right? And that's, like you said, he used to be. He was the worst striker in the world when he was at Arsenal, and he wasn't that bad. Like, he would get you 14 goals. That's not like a terrible player, right? Now it's just gone all the way to the other side, where it's like he's apparently. Would you have him or Harry Kane? Like, are you fucking kidding me, man?
No, bro. You know what pissed me off the most is
we would have won the damn Champions League if we had Harry Kane right now.
Bro, what pissed me off the most is the 2018 France win. France won the World Cup. Giroud's got no freaking goals. But people say, I get it. I hear it. He made an impact. I get it. What pissed me off the most was this World Cup. When Benzema didn't play, people were saying, "Oh, if Benzema, listen, we don't matter if Benzema don't play. We've got Giroud. We've got Giroud." Oh, not even that. The worst thing about it, if Benzema played in 2018, France would have never won the World Cup because Giroud was very unselfish and allowed Griezmann and Mbappe. You know what? That pisses me off, man.
I don't think you know this about me, but I'm a huge Benzema hater. So,
Excuse me?
I'm a huge Benzema hater.
You know
So
what? Wallah al-Azim. I wasn't even going to speak about Benzema, but later in this stream, let's chat about Benzema.
No, it's not. No. I just don't like him even on a personal level. But regardless of that, the point. No, obviously I respect his ability in football, but no, yeah. The thing with Giroud is that, like you said, the pendulum has swung too far, right? And we always put accolades before ability. Like we're just at this point, it's like I watched Harry Kane live. Man, that guy is fucking hard to play against. Like I was watching and he didn't score in either leg, but I was just like, I can only imagine what how hard those center backs are working right now. He really puts a beating on you. It was the first. I really hadn't noticed it until I watched him live. It's like, man, it's a fucking wrestling match with that dude. And people will say, "Oh, I would take Giroud over him." Like, no, you wouldn't. You just wouldn't. In any season, at any point, in any competition, in the entire career, you just wouldn't.
In any condition, in any day, in any weather, no. That's no way in hell. Let's chat quickly before we go to the one person I want to talk about, Super Mike. What do you think? Is he staying? Is he leaving?
What's your thoughts? I think he's staying now because they basically just want the one big exit to have already happened. I think this is the thing. He is, in my opinion, the second or third best goalkeeper in the world. Like it's him, it's Alisson, and it's Courtois. I think Courtois is number one, whatever order. I think maybe he's third. Regardless of they're that group. They're the elite, right? But his problem is it's been too many injuries. I mean, he missed 6 or 7 games in league games in his first season. Mm-hmm. And then he had a huge problem this year where he missed the World Cup. He missed overall 25 league. He missed overall 25 games in league and Champions League, and he missed the World Cup. And it really cost us our season because Tato Rosano, their backup goalkeeper, was very bad. Right. So in that case, he's amazing when he's on the field. I hope and pray that he's on the field every single game, like a goalkeeper is supposed to be.
That's how much is he worth? A healthy Super Mike. How much is he worth?
Fuck me, in this market, 100 million.
100?
If somebody paid 80 million for Kepa, why the hell not? Honestly.
So what? He's breaking the triple digit barrier.
Okay, what Milan would actually accept is probably less than that. They'll probably take 70 or 80 or something like that. But if you put him relative to the other transfers, I think he is that good.
To be fair, a lot of people in the chat are saying 100.
Well, that's just the rate of goalkeepers has skyrocketed, and I don't agree with this. By the way, I don't think anybody should ever pay 80 million for a goalkeeper. That's insane.
It's the market. What we've got at the moment.
And it's like if you have a good player, like if somebody's paid that much for somebody else, then I mean, fuck me. Is Mike Maignan way better than Kepa? Yeah. So
Onana's going for 60 million.
And he's better than Onana. Yeah.
Very, very bad. Speaking of someone who went for 80, or it could be 70, it could be 60. Tonali. The narrative about Tonali now, and on Twitter or wherever it is he worth the money? What do you think?
So okay, there's two ways. If I was a Milan fan, or if Tonali was a player who wasn't at Milan, and Milan wanted to sign him, would I want them to pay 70 million? No. But at the same time, Milan is broke, and Newcastle aren't. And if it comes down to it, and you have the money, and you say, we want good players. Is he a good player? Yes. How much is he actually worth? Let's say 50, 60 million, right? And they paid 70. Okay. Does the 10 million, 20 million really matter to them? No. At the end of the day, they identified a target and they said, we want him. And so they got him. That was it. You know what I'm saying? To me, the balking at the price is just crazy because people, I saw some Spurs guy say that he's worth 5 times less than that. It's like, what, he's worth 12 million? Really? That's really what your mind put together and thought that was smart? Like, come on, man.
Who's better in who's worth more in your eyes, Barella or Tonali?
Barella. Barella's better.
That's what I thought.
But
Okay.
Barella's Barella's like one of the, I don't know how many best world midfielders in the world. He's unbelievable.
I said
He's 3 years older though. I'll say.
2 years. He's 27. I said last season, and Inter fans, they were fuming. I said Barella, with all due respect to Inter Milan, he should be playing for a bigger club. And everyone was on me. Oh, what are you trying to say about Inter Milan? X, Y, and Z. Yeah, they weren't happy. But you know what? Let's take away from AC Milan. Let's go to Napoli, baby. Let's chat about. I can't lie. This season, I mean, last season, it was long overdue for Napoli. In my opinion, they should have won the league more than once. They're bottling every single time. Do you think they can maintain it next season? Because bear in mind, before you answer that question, you guys are nowhere near. Inter, in my opinion, with Inzaghi, with Onana, I don't see them. Juve isn't a downfall. Roma is Roma. I think they should be winning the league comfortably. But what's your opinion?
I agree on paper. Well, okay. See, this is the thing. I think Inter are closer than you give them credit for. But this is the thing. Can they sustain the level that they showed this year? No, they can't. Because they just lost their center back and they lost their manager. So no,
Rudy Garcia, baby. What? Garcia hype.
Jesus, can I get the hell out of here, man? Rudy fucking got. At the worst of my sadness about Tonali leaving, I could always console myself with the fact that they hired Rudy Garcia. It's like when I was really like, I don't even know if I want to watch football again. I was like, yeah, but they hired Rudy Garcia. Like there might be something in it for me.
The person who got sacked 3 months ago by Nasser.
Jesus, man, it was. I mean, yeah, it's just a bad transfer. He didn't even do well for Lyon. He did well for Roma in his first season, then not go well after that. It's just a very weird transfer. Sorry, like hiring. But regardless, they lost Kim Min-jae, and I mean, I have no way in hell. I don't know how you like them signing Kim Min-jae for 20 million and Kvara for 10 million. There's nothing more lightning in a bottle than that. You're never gonna do that again. It's unbelievable how good those guys are, and for that price, you're not getting. He walked in, Kim Min-jae. I've never seen anybody walk in and just be immediate. Like from the first game, you're like,
impact.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, like that might be like the 6th best center back in the world that nobody knew about him 1 year, and then the moment you saw him play for the first time for Napoli, you're like, yeah, that guy's like something else.
But that spine of theirs in the midfield, Anguissa, Lobotka, Zerienski.
They're the favorites, I think. I agree.
Yeah.
They're the favorites because they only lost one player as of right now, right? And I think they're keeping Osimhen and I think they're keeping Kvara, who are 2 of the top 5 players in the league, right?
Victor, I don't think it's down to them, bro. They put a release clause of 180 million. Like who's prepared to pay anywhere near 100 for Victor Osimhen? In my opinion, I don't think it's worth that much. I don't think
100 million.
Bro, he's not worth 100 million, bro.
Bro, somebody paid 120 for Lukaku, then he's worth 100. By the way, Lukaku was amazing. Don't get me wrong. Before he left, but come on, man, you need to watch more Victor Osimhen. That guy,
brother. I watch Victor Osimhen, and I'm wearing an Napoli shirt, ironically enough. But if you're telling me he's 100 mil,
who is 100 mil then?
Strikers now in today's football.
Yeah,
Harry Kane's worth 100 mil, easy.
Okay, I agree with that. There's not much, right? And then you get into.
If you consider, I'm not going to put Mbappe in that bracket. Lee was too old. Benzema's done.
But this is what I'm saying. Once you get down to, once you say it like that, right, and then you go, who are the best strikers in the world? And when you get down to Osimhen's name, he's the only one in the perfect age bracket. He's the only one who's that good. God, and everybody needs a striker. That's
football. The standards of football have dropped.
That's what I'm saying. Once you get down to it like that, you're like, hey, who else is as good as him, age 26, and is available and hasn't made the giant leap, like isn't at Madrid or Barca or whatever. Who else? When you put it like that, like if you're a Madrid fan, you need a striker. Who else are you going to sign other than Harry Kane? I agree with you. Harry Kane's worth 100 million. But even he's 31.
I'm gonna be
Or
real.
30, whatever.
Victor wouldn't even be my third or fourth option.
No, come on, man.
Wallah,
He
bro.
is.
Wallah,
Well,
bro.
he's amazing.
If we don't sign, listen, I'll be real. If we don't sign Harry Kane, I'm more than happy to go to Gonzalo Ramos. If we don't sign Gonzalo Ramos, I'm more than happy to test out Rodrigo as a false
Okay,
nine.
but you don't believe that Gonzalo Ramos is better than Osimhen, do you?
I don't think no. Of course not.
Okay, but you're saying value
I
for
can't
money.
mentally
Okay, that's
accept
fair.
the fact that we're paying 100 million for Victor Osimhen.
Right, that's fair if you do value for money, but who's actually better than him? There aren't many. That's the problem you end up with. And again, you end up with the fact that how many teams need striker?
Who's better, Lautaro or Victor?
Oh, Osimhen is way better.
Yeah, same.
This is the thing.
Someone in the comments asked it.
This is the thing with Osimhen, right? Osimhen, from the first day he showed up, I remember I watched his debut, right? Immediately you're like, this might be the best player in the world. But he has constantly gotten weird injuries. He broke his hand one time, he got punched in the eye, broken eye socket, whatever. He constantly gets injuries. And the one time he's ever had a really healthy-ish season was this year, and they won the title. I'm telling you, man, there's nothing in his game. There's nothing that he can't do. There's no weaknesses in his game. And most importantly to me, when you watch him, he is tenacious, which is not a word you say about strikers all the time, but like, he will not let you breathe. Every second of every game, every center back has to be like, where the fuck is he? Where is he? Quick. Somebody go get him. He's on your ass constantly, and I love players like that.
That's why I'm still, bro. The thing is with me is I'm still stuck in the mindset of I'm only going to pay 100 mil for someone that I know is worth 100 mil. I'm still stuck in the mindset of if you're 100 mil, I want to compare to the players. I know the market's changed. I get it. I get the market's changed. But I can't mentally accept the fact the only person, even Kylian Mbappe, Madrid is about to spend 200 million on Mbappe with a 1-year contract, bro. I don't want to spend 200 million on Mbappe. I don't want to spend. I'm the only fan out on Twitter that's saying don't spend 200 on a person whose contract is about to end next season, and the only realistic destination for him is Madrid. Why am I spending 200 million when we're competing against ourselves?
Because you're gonna start Joselu in half the games.
A'udhu billah, the day that I start Joselu, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So like when you get to that, this is the thing with the money, right? At Real Madrid, Mbappe is worth way more than 200 million in terms of what he brings, in terms of what he brings everything else, right? Like, it's the same thing with Ronaldo. When you broke the record, it's like, who gives a fuck about the money? When he shows up, immediately Real Madrid makes 80 million on other things. You know what I'm saying? On sponsorships and commercials and this and that and all, like, you know what I'm saying? The star power himself, that's what makes it. To me, I think you're underrating Osimhen a little bit. I think even without the market, this is my thing with him. Why I maybe wouldn't pay 100 million for him is his injury history. That's it. But if he can give me another 1 or 2 seasons of 30 league games, he's worth whatever.
I'll back it. I can't lie. I'll back it. Talking about Inter, you mentioned you mentioned earlier. You're not giving respect to Inter that much. Why?
The way they finished the season was super impressive. I mean, they went on a crazy run at the end in the league. I mean, they had made the Champions League final, and hey, I mean, fuck me, they really took City to the wire.
Bro, Inzaghi was about to get sacked after back in November.
I know. They thank God. Thank you, Rodri. Man, I will never forget what he did. Honestly, I was so happy. But anyway, so I think that end of the season gives them a little bit of an edge. I just think you're underrating them not as a team, but as in comparison to who they're competing against. Like, everybody's gotten worse. Napoli's gotten worse. Like we said, Spalletti's gone and Kim Min-jae's gone. Milan has gotten worse in many ways. Lazio, fuck me, they're actually doing really well. So credit.
Sorry, respect to him. Respect to him.
Yeah, I've been a Sarri hater, but the work they're doing in the transfer market, I think is really top. Like, they're signing a couple guys. They're signing Marcos Leonardo from Santos, which is insane. I can't believe they can sign him. And they're
Apparently,
signing.
I read today that one of the main players, Luis Alberto, could go to Saudi Arabia. Apparently,
I saw that, but they're also trying to extend him. I don't know. I mean, again, this is all contingent on what happens to the end. They also might lose Milinkovic Savic, which
okay. Before we talk about Inter, brother, Milinkovic Savic, yeah. I'm not going to be one of these people that say I watch Lazio every single week. But whenever I watch Lazio, I only watch Lazio when it's a Roma derby
right, it's a big game. Yeah.
against Juve, a big game. I don't watch Lazio against Parma or against Sassuolo. I don't watch that. Milinkovic Savic, whenever I watch him play, he's not it. As someone who watches Serie A more than I do, is he it? Like, is he him or no?
He's not him, but he performs in enough games that he's still worth having on your team. Like, you still want him on the team. At least for Serie A clubs, you want him on the team. Like, I want Sergio Milinkovic-Savic, right? Is he like this was a running joke back when Kessie used to not be rated highly, right? Before Pioli came in, Kessie used to dominate Milinkovic-Savic, right? Dominate him. And everybody would be like, "Oh, you're just," and I used to say Kessie's better than him, and everybody used to say, "Oh, you're just judging it on 2 games a year." I'm like, no, I see what I see, and Kessie's just better than him. And I believe that there's a lot of midfielders better than him, and he probably gets hyped more. He's not, to me, this is my personal opinion, which I know a lot of people will disagree. Somebody like Tonali is better than him. Barella is better than him. Things like that. But at the same time, and this is actually this same conversation gets had about Immobile, right? People always say, "Oh, Immobile scores 30 goals, but he disappears at the big moments and all that kind of stuff," right? That's true. But somebody has to score against Frosinone. Somebody has to score against Parma. Somebody has to score against Genoa. You know? At the end of the day, if nobody scores against in those games, you know what happens? You lose or you draw, right?
I hear you.
And it's the same thing with Milinkovic Savic. Is he going to dominate the opposition in the biggest games? No, he's not, right? But he'll get you 10 goals and 10 assists. And at the end of the day, when it's all tied up, it matters. And especially if you put him next to somebody who's better than him, like a Tonali or a Barella, or Juve want to put him with Locatelli, who I don't know if he's better than him, but regardless, a good player. Like, he can take you a step up, you know? I always have this term, cherry on top players, right? Dybala has always been that. Pogba has always been that to me, right? No, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's like if the team sucks and you put these players in, they won't do well. But if you have a nice team, if you have the Sunday and everything is there, and you put them on the team, they can take you from good to great. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of player he's like. He needs somebody to do running for him. He needs somebody to do some of the other functions of the team for him. But if he has those things and you put him in, he has the technical ability and the quality to put you over. You know? So that's my opinion on him. There's a lot of people who are like, he doesn't exist. It's like, yeah, he's overrated. He became overrated when everybody was like, we should pay 80 million. When Premier League was like, oh, Premier League fans would always be like, we should sign Milinkovic Savic. We should pay 80 million. Okay, then he became overrated. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But now it's the same thing with Immobile. Now it's turning to like, actually, he sucks. And it's like, he doesn't suck. He's just not as great as.
But the thing is with Immobile, he went to Germany, he went to Spain.
Right.
It didn't work out. Milinkovic Savic, bro, we haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Except for the Euros or for the World Cup. That's the only time we see him. Speaking of quickly about Inter, yeah? You guys were very, very lucky that they lost against City. Because I can't lie, yeah?
Always.
I'll never forget you. If we go back over the past 20 years, I found us about this today. They've got more Serie A's than you guys over the
past 10 years. Oh, the last 10 years. Okay, yeah, of course.
The two with Zlatan and the Adriano days, the two with Jose, and the one season before, and of course with Conte.
Yeah,
they've got one Champions League less than you guys, but they've got 2 Champions League finals.
Correct.
Over the last 20 years. So basically, more Serie A's, but one less Champions League. Who, in your eyes, take your bias aside, brother? Take your bias aside. Who's had a better 20-year tenure?
A 20-year, 10-year. I mean, they obviously have you. I mean, you outlined all the facts. They beat the crap out
I
of
had
us in
to. I had to.
derbies too.
I had to do that.
Over the past 20 years, they also beat the crap out of us in derbies. So yeah, this is my thing. Me, Inter fans love showing the recent derby record, and it's all Inter win, Inter win, Inter win, Inter win. But right in the middle, right there, there's a Milan win, and it's the one that decided the title. So there's all that. That to me is like you can have all those other ones. You can win. Like they always beat us in the Coppa Italia. Somehow we always play them, and they always beat us. Like you can have those. They're good for you. When we had that one, the one that mattered the most, we had it. Well, actually, I guess with the semifinal. Well, they didn't win it, so I'll still stay. I'll still stick to that
Bro,
being the
they
most
beat you,
important.
bro. They beat you in the first ever Milan derby in a
No, that's not
knockout
true.
stage. Huh?
Third one, and we won the first two.
What
We
was it?
beat them in 2003 in the semifinals, and won the
Ooh.
Champions League, and beat them in 2005 in the quarters, and obviously But yeah, that's why.
Who hates who hates the other most? You guys or them?
Hmm. I don't know. I think it's a pretty even rivalry because both teams have been good the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Like, or at least actually, even when we weren't good, we were bad at the same time. So like
Okay.
when Inter were 10th, we also sucked. So it's like the derbies were still hyper competitive, right? Like it was terrible players, but they were all terrible players. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
one team. There's never been a period in the derby where one team was beating on the other one. Like it's not a Liverpool. There's no Arsenal Spurs. There's no Liverpool Everton. There's no Madrid and
Yeah, yeah,
Atleti.
yeah.
There's no period of the derby where it's like that.
It's always balanced. But speaking of one team who's been above you guys, both of you for the past 10 years, is Juve.
Mhm.
How happy are you with the downfall?
Oh, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful things in the world because it's not just that their downfall is so unique in that they just stopped doing the things that made them great in the first place. Like they just started massively overpaying for wages, which is something they never used to do.
Yeah.
They started just buying hype players. We need Federico Chiesa. Give me Matthias De Ligt. Give me like all these like hyped. They never used to do that. They used to
Smart
operate very
free
quietly.
agent signings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used to operate very quietly in the dark shadows, man. They used to just like you would go to sleep and then one day you'd wake up and they had like Arturo Vidal signing. It's like what the fuck happened? Literally, they sold Pogba. Like this was the peak of Juve was they sold Pogba and like the next day they went to Napoli and they went to Roma and they paid the release clauses of Higuain and Pjanic. And they basically destroyed. They ended the league right then and there because Napoli and Roma were actually climbing up and getting close to them, and they were
Correct.
just like, "That's it. That's enough of that." And
And and,
and
and, and Gonzalo, the last season before he joined Juve, I think he had what,
I know
36, 37 goals, something like that?
36 goals. Yeah, he has the
Insane.
record.
What do you think of the manager, Allegri?
Look, he gets a lot of bad. He gets a terrible reputation, and he deserves some of it. The football he plays is sometimes really diabolical. Um,
That's
but at the end,
that's an understatement to pretty much say the least.
but at the same time, without the deduction, which had nothing to do with him, obviously, the point deduction was financial, and had nothing to do with him. Without the point deduction, he finished fourth. He finished above us
Which is
without the
not
point
bad to be
deduction.
fair. Which is not
Yeah,
bad.
and there was a point, and I do think the point deduction like kind of derailed their season because all the players were like so badly demoralized. You
Mm.
know, um, yeah, I just think their team is not that good. He has a hand in building that team. That has to be said, right? But overall, from top to bottom, like everything is messed up with that club. The fact that they put themselves in a position to get a 15 or what was it, ended up being a 12-point deduction, I think.
They
The fact that
changed
they
it.
put
Yeah.
the right, the fact that they put themselves in that position shows that from top to bottom they're bad, and I just can't imagine that Allegri is the worst thing happening at that club. You know?
I know what. In a way, you're right. Because I want to speak about three players:
Right?
Dusan, Vlahovic.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
he
a fan.
overrated?
No, if anything, he's underrated now. Everybody thinks he's crap.
I like it.
He's
I like it.
I've always been a fan. I think that dude is a stone cold killer. Like, he's a terrible person as a person, but like
Yeah.
he's a stone cold killer on the pitch. He's not. He is like to me. It's like he is what he is. He's not going to be the link-up player. He's not going to be able to, but put him in front of the goal and he'll score. And it's constantly, and it's annoying how, especially non-Serie A fans, treat it like he had one purple patch season. That's not what happened. He came to Fiorentina in January in 1 year, right? And he didn't play much. Then the second year he became a starter and he scored 21 league goals, right? And then the third year he went up a level and scored, I don't know how many, like 16 goals in half a season, and Juve signed him, and he ended up with 24 goals, right, that year. And then as Juve's attack, I mean, I sometimes try to describe like playing striker for Juve right now must be the hardest job in the world.
Yeah, because
The way
there's no support from anyone.
it's disgusting the way they play attacking wise. Like nobody. I genuinely believe this. There is not a single player on this earth that could thrive in that system.
Bro,
There's
I saw last season at one point not this season, 2 seasons ago. I saw at one point Weston McKennie was playing right wing.
Bro, they've had Chiesa playing right wing back, and I'm not even a huge Chiesa fan, but like that's sacrilege. Like it's bad. Like I don't think anybody would be able to succeed. I've always been of the opinion that if they ever got so sick of him that they would give a discount, I would personally just fly to Italy, rent a car, go to Turin, and drive him all the way to Milan. Obviously, they will never give us a discount big enough to do that, but he should. The thing is, the only club he's really been linked with is
Arsenal.
Chelsea. Oh, I mean now.
Before, yeah.
Right. I think he would have been amazing for Arsenal. He's not like this is the thing. People see the way that they've played with Gabriel Jesus, and obviously they've had success with him, and they're like, well, why would we have done something different? Well, it's like, okay, you could be successful in two different ways. I still think they would have been great with Vlahovic. They just wouldn't have been great in the exact same way.
In the way, of course, a change of style would have. Let's talk about
Pogba. Man, he's I like.
Do you want to take the stage, or should I? You know.
You go. Okay. Go for it.
I want to. Okay, listen. I want to talk about the most disrespected player, the most underappreciated. By the way, I might say some shit that you might not agree with. You might be one of the biggest Pogba haters that I know, but keep it to yourself. Wallah al-azim, bro. He is one of the most underappreciated. That's three players out there. Neymar is one of them. I hate Pogba haters. His move to United ruined him completely. It was the wrong move. United never used him the right way, and they never had the players to complement him. How can you force a person who was at Juve at the age of 21? He made the team of the season at the age of 21. You had Ronaldo, you had Messi. He made that team of the season with Modric and Iniesta. How can you look at that Pogba and say to yourself, you know what? Let's move him from an advanced playmaker as an advanced 8 and use him as a 6. How can anyone do that? He had decent seasons. Let's just take it into account. Couple good seasons at United. World Cup 2018. France's most important player. The most important player. His PR is fucking shit now.
Mm-hmm.
His reputation is so bad.
Right.
He's injury prone. No one respects him. He's criticized for no damn reason. Even though in terms of ability, let's be real now. In terms of ability only, table 1. If you watch the content that I do, I've got 4 players in table 1. 4 players. In my opinion, I categorize players by tables. I've got Luka Modric, Iniesta, Zizou, and Xavi.
This is in terms of talent.
No, all time. If I had to rank 4 midfield, and I'm not putting your guy in, by the way. I know you gave me that little smart.
Who's my guy?
Unless you're trying to hint to me that you're putting Pirlo in table 1.
No, I'm not a huge Pirlo guy, to be honest.
Cool, alhamdulillah. For me, the best 4 midfielders we've ever seen is those 4 players. Modric, Zizou, Iniesta, and Xavi. The only person that can rival them in terms of ability
is Pogba. Okay.
It's Nabil.
I don't disagree with that. I think in terms of God-given ability, in terms of the skills that he had at his peak, Yeah, I agree. He's one of the most talented players ever, for sure. Uh, my only thing with him is just, again, I agree with you. The United move was the wrong move, but there's just always been something about him where it's just like, oh, actually, I don't want to single him out. Footballers in general, every time some football makes a move, it's like, man, you really don't watch the sport, do you? Like Frank Kessie going to Barcelona, I was like, man, why? Like not even in terms of just the fact that he left Milan, but if he wanted to go and better his career, there was like a million
The
clubs
wrong
that
move.
did that.
It's the wrong move.
Just the yeah, like just that's not the club that's gonna want to play your way, you know. And the same thing with United. He should have just stayed at Juve. Like he had the perfect setup. He had Arturo Vidal. He had Claudio Marchisio. He had Pirlo. He even had and they were and even the following generation of them was they were always going to put guys next to him who were going to really support him defensively, you know? Because like I said, always call him a cherry on top player. That's what Juve realized as well. This is the guy, right? Like Vidal, Pirlo, and Marchisio is a great midfield. Each individually are great.
Mhm.
But but with this guy, he can take us from great to like we can win a Champions League, right?
Mhm.
Right. That's what they realized too. So that's why they empowered him to just be like, hey man, just do your fun stuff on the ball. Go
Mhm.
be great. Go have fun. And the rest of them will do your work, you know? And he was in the perfect situation. And he goes to United, and United bought him and marketed him as the all encompassing midfielder, the guy who's going to do everything from A to Z. He's not that. He's not that. You're wasting his talent by making him do defensive work. You know, it's the same thing I always say about Leao. Like Premier League fans, every time they watch Leao, they're always like, "Oh, but he doesn't work off the ball." It's like, okay, cool. When you want him, when he gets the ball, do you want him all the way up the field, or do you want him all
Oh,
the way back
yeah.
there? That's the fact of the matter. Like, do you want him when he gets the ball all the way to the top? Do you want him tired, or do you want him energized so he can beat the guy? No, I
He
want him
should
all the
have
way up there.
he should have left City when he had the chance to go. I think it was
United,
17, 18, or 18, 19. He had a chance
yeah.
to go City. He should have gone to City, bro.
But see, this is the only problem. This is the problem that he made, right? His PR is bad partly because of him, right?
It's a
The way
combination, though. It's a combination. It's not just
Of
him.
course, it's a combination of the fact that United and United fans often scapegoated him, right?
And the
And
British
the
media.
fee,
The British
right?
media was on him.
Definitely, definitely. But we know how they are. They're like this they were like this with Sterling, and they were, yeah. No, that's I agree with that. That was the shit they talked about him was insane. But also, if you're a Mino Raiola client, you allow him to say some of the like I remember when they were about to play Leipzig in the last game of a group stage to decide who wins the game, and he starts saying like, oh, Mino Raiola comes out in the media like 2 days before and saying, oh, maybe Pogba will leave and all that kind of stuff. It's like, why are you allowing your agent to say these kind of things in this
Well,
moment
who could
specifically?
control mine? Who could control a figure? Like what? Think.
No, but this is the thing. This is the thing, and Milan used to have a huge relationship with Mino Raiola. We used to have a bunch of players from him. We had Zlatan, we had Donnarumma, we had etc. Right? This is what, and people have always said, well, it's Mino Raiola. That's just how it is. Well, at the end of the day, the player pays his checks, right? If you really, really disagree with what he's saying, you can fire him. There's plenty of other super agents, right? Because
Mhm.
and I hate the way that people always used to defend Mino Raiola with like, oh well, he gets the job done. It's like, yeah, so does Jorge Mendes, and I've never heard that dude speak ever, right? So does what's the guy that Barnett something George Barnett? I don't even know his fucking name. The guy
Yeah,
who Bale's
the
agent.
Bell guy, the Bell guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the most valuable agent in the world. He represents the players that are most valuable in the entire world. I don't even know what the fuck his first name is. There's ways
Yeah.
to get business done without doing all that other stuff. That's the only part I'll say is that he contributed to his bad PR a little bit by enabling that guy to do that. That's my only opinion. But I agree with you. Ability wise, like I'll always there's guys like that, like him, Balotelli. To me, Balotelli in the few years he was at Milan, I was just like, this is the best player in the world in terms of maybe okay, not with Messi obviously, but like he could have been one of the greatest strikers in the history of the game just off of pure ability. There was no weaknesses to his game, but obviously it never materialized. That's the
Mm.
same thing with Pogba. It materialized obviously way better with Pogba, but like he had the talent, no doubt, to be one of, if not the greatest midfielder in the world. I agree with that. Dude, he's 6'4", He's faster than every midfielder. He has all the technical ability. Like,
Technically,
you're not.
everything, bro, everything, and that's what annoys me, that he had all the talent, all the ability. Of course, he's been unfortunate with injuries. That's one part of it. Different system that didn't work out for him. He should have. I can't lie. Even Madrid wanted him at one stage, but Zidane was like, it wasn't Zidane actually. It was Paris. It was Paris who wanted him, but Zidane was like, I'm more than happy to have my spine of Casemiro, Modric, and to be fair, it worked out perfectly. But just seeing. Bro, you know what annoys me the most? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, we'll be looking at Pogba as, oh, he's a streets player. And that's what annoys me.
Yeah, that is insane. Yeah. That's the thing. It's funny. Like, if the dream scenario is Pogba someday one would have played with Casemiro. That's like literally
my God.
like they just complete each other's deficiencies so perfectly. It would have been an amazing midfield. But yeah, he should have, like you said, he should have left United a few years earlier when he really realized, like, these guys are not going to put a team around me that's going to utilize my strengths. But again, footballers just don't watch football. I really believe that.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, France last World Cup with Pogba, would they have won it?
Maybe. I mean, fuck me. They were starting at Del Rabio. So yeah, maybe. Honestly. I mean, they came as close as you could humanly come without winning it. They literally
Kulamwani, man, you've got blood on your hands. You haywan. You've got blood in your hands. Pissed me off. I was there, man. I was there. I was fuming. Yeah.
You were at the World Cup final.
I was 2 weeks, but I was watching the semis, quarters as well. We went. We flied out the whole SDS channel, like 5 of us. We went. When the quarters, semis, the final. But bro, that's why I've got my display picture. Me and R9.
I have seen that. I was gonna literally ask you about that at some point. But man, you watched that World Cup. I literally, the day after, I made a video called "The Greatest Game Ever Played." I think that was the greatest game ever played.
Best game we've ever. Wallah, it's the best game I've ever seen. And it's the thing is, yeah, this is what people don't know inside the stadium. 90%, actually not 90, 95% of the fans were all Argentinians, bro. It was dominated by Argentinian fans. Bro, the fan base in Qatar, it was free. It was the Argentinian fans, insane support. It was the Saudis.
Of course.
Insane support. What's the last one? That was one. Wait. The people in the comments might know. That was one other country. Insane. I forgot who they are. But the point is, the final insane.
Morocco,
sport.
Somebody said.
Huh?
Was it Morocco?
Morocco. Insane support. But yeah, that final, bro, it was 2-0. People full. At one point, I was like, you know what? I might as well just go. Mbappe scores.
I know.
Mental. When he scored 60, was it 6 and 90 seconds later? Wallah al-azim, bro. The whole stadium was collapsed. The whole stadium was there was silence, bro. The whole stadium was silent.
Man.
Extra time. Oh, man. Game was insane, but I was fuming. Kulamwani.
Bro, I wanted Argentina to win, but when he scored the equalizer, I couldn't help but celebrate. Like, it was just such a moment. Like, every time I see the video of that goal, I get hype again.
Yeah.
Like, can you believe he did that? Man. Because he also, the penalty, my favorite part about he took 3 penalties. Yeah, he took 3 penalties. And my favorite part about all of them is that, especially the first one, he gets the ball and he puts it on the spot and he's just looking at the referee, just looking like, okay, let me take it. Like, he wants to take it so damn fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember the same thing because it reminds me of Shevchenko's penalty in the 2003 World Champions League final. Like, I love when players just put the ball and they're looking at the referee, like, blow the fucking whistle. I'm ready.
Yeah,
like, I want the damn penalty. Like, and they just, and man.
Or even the last chance where he went past 3 players.
Oh.
Before Dybala. Before Dybala had to freaking clear it. Oh, man. Insane. But I was one of the best, not their best, one of the best, the best experience of my life. That was insane. But before, let's take it back to let's talk about one team before we go back to the questions that a lot of people have. The questions I've got for you. Roma.
Mhm.
Let's chat about. Hold on. I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you two questions. First of all, do you see Roma as a threat with Jose? No.
No,
They
not
are.
again.
They are the
Not
least of
again.
your concerns.
Yeah, no. There's nothing threatening about them. When push comes to shove, you can beat them. Like every time, like if they really ever challenge something, they can't beat a big team. All the big teams will beat them. If it really comes down to it, yeah, they're not good.
Okay. Secondly, let's chat about Jose, the special one.
Mhm.
What's your before I ask you what I'm going to ask you? What's your thoughts on Jose?
As just his entire career, or just at Roma?
His time with Roma.
Um,
Do you
he
think it's as successful as what people say, or do you think it's overrated? Because bear in mind, no top four finish.
right. So okay. Actually, it's weird because some people massively underrate it and say like nothing he's done matters, and then some people say that it's like incredible. Oh my God, he's gotten Roma to two European finals. I'm like, okay, like it's the Conference League and the Europa League. The Conference League, they were like that's not that big of an achievement. They were the best team in the competition. They made the final and best team by like way much. The Europa League is impressive, getting to the final of that. But even then, like
Getting
they
robbed
just
as
did.
well. Getting robbed in the final.
I mean,
And
sure.
Anthony Taylor, you've got blood in your hands, bro.
Nah, come on, man. There was like just the handball decision, and okay, fine, that's egregious. But the way they conducted themselves afterwards that's just disgusting. Come on, man.
That's Jose. That's
No,
Jose.
forget. But no, even the fans, dude, they showed up at the airport to wait for the
Yeah.
referee. Like, come on, man. That's just like, come on. To me, it's just like at the end of the day, this is the reality of Serie A. You cannot ever be good if you're not in top four. If you don't have Champions League football, you can't be good because the difference in finances between being in top four and not, it's life and death. It's night and day, right? And he had a chance. He had a chance to winning the Europa League final to get them there, and they didn't. And now without Champions League football, they're just never gonna like.
But he fucked it himself as well. Like at one point, they were second at one point with like 6-7 games to go, and then he started benching Dybala. He started mentioning the main players for the semi-final and the final.
He just it's they're just not. They're just not convincing. That's the problem. At the end of the day, they have some really good players. They have Dybala. I like Tammy Abraham, even though he had a terrible season last year.
Pellegrini for
they
me
have
is overrated.
Pel-
I don't like.
I
I
actually,
don't.
I mean, I don't know who rates Pellegrini. That's the thing. I don't know.
For me, like, they've got Cristante who's dead, bro. Like he's doing the best at the place that he's got. Most of his plays are shit.
No, I agree, but
Matic is too old.
I don't think the squad is amazing. But again, that's like I told you, like that's the reality. Yeah, if you're not finishing top four, you're not going to get real reinforcements. You know,
But then again,
reinforcements.
so far they've done well. So Samaro, they've got Ndike, they're about to get Skamaka on loan.
Right, but that's what they do. They overpay for these free agents, right? Like Hossam Awar and what's his name,
Ndike.
Indika. They're not getting them over the line. They're not. Well, okay, I'll say this. Maybe Milan falls off to the point where we're out of the top four. I mean, we're not 100% secure yet, right? So maybe they get. I had, to be fair, when last season in my prediction, I had Roma fourth, right? I liked what they did. I liked signing Wijnaldum, and then he ended up breaking his leg like in preseason. So obviously that hurt him and that hurt them and stuff like that. And Tammy Abraham just had one of the worst seasons in history in terms of finishing. That's one thing that nobody gives Jose the benefit of that with. Like when Graham Potter's teams really badly underperform expected goals, everybody's tweeting about it. All the stats page. Roma have been the worst expected goals underperformers in the past 2 years. But at a certain point, this is my reasoning, right? In terms of expected goal differences, they're always high. But at a certain point, you know what your players are. If they're bad finishers, you don't get to use that excuse anymore. You know what they are. Sign different ones or figure something out. But there's no two ways about it. It's the same thing with Milan. Milan last year created the most big chances out of anyone in the league. By a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you have Giroud up top, and you have Origi up top, and you have Rebic up top. Nobody else is to blame for missing those chances, except for the fact that you put those. That's your striking partner.
But bro, it's the same with Roma. They've got Tammy who's inconsistent. Right. They've got Belotti who's just trash.
Man, that his collapse was really surprising.
His collapse, bro. I remember 3-4 years ago, he was regarded as Chelsea.
But even his last year at Torino, he wasn't as good as he was before, but he was good. To go
That's the
from
reason
that
why when he became a free agent, no one wanted him beside Roma.
Yeah, but I mean now he's gonna get he's the starting striker now. Tammy Abraham tore his ACL.
Scamacca.
Or Scamacca, I guess. Yeah,
He's close. He's
if
close
they get
to
him
on loan.
Yeah.
But I've got some questions for you before we go to the questions for the people. A lot of people have been asking. He's been trying to ask questions, but I've got some interesting questions for you. I'm very intrigued to find out. And by the way, I'm going to add one more just for the sake of it because I heard that you're not a Benzema fan. I just want to add it. I want to add it. First question, yeah.
I feel like I know what the question is, but okay. The Benzema question, but go on. Sorry.
What's your thoughts on AC for next season? Milan for next season? What's your prediction? Like in the sense of, are you expecting them to do well? Top 4, top 2, compete? What is it?
Definitely not compete and definitely not top 2. I think Inter and Napoli. Even like I'm gonna look at it just based off of the most rumored stuff, like the most rumored transfers, because they're projecting to make like 3 or 4 more signings, right? Let's say they do make those signings. They want to sign this Dutch guy, Tijani Reinders. They want to sign Alvaro Morata, apparently, which, ya Allah.
Oh,
they want to sign Chukwueze, which I like.
Pulisic as well?
Well, yeah, but I'm counting that one as basically done because today they were saying like it's basically done. And who else? And Yunus Musa. Apparently, we're really interested in Yunus Musa. Let's say
he's not that good.
So, he's 20 years old. I like him, but yeah, he's not like finished. But again, let's say that's what they do. The ceiling of that team is 4th, maybe 3rd, given how unstable the other teams are. That team is not competing for anything. So that's my prediction. Not compete. I'm praying we just keep top 4. We keep it chugging along. That's the biggest hope we can. But at the same time, to me, based on what they did, they put all their chips on signing Tonali, right? They gambled hardcore. To me, they should compete for the title. That's the ownership after what they did. Their expectation is to compete for the title, and when they don't, everybody's heads should roll.
Who do you want in that case? In that case, if you could pick 3 players right now, realistically, who would it be?
To sign for Milan? We were linked with Florentino Luis from Benfica. Him, or we're also linked. These are like actual links from like DiMarzio, not like some random news. But like we were linked with Florentino Luis or Nicolas Dominguez. He plays for Bologna. But those 2 defensive midfielders, give me one of them. 100%. That would be good for me. If I could sign any players, we were linked with Lois Openda from Lens at the beginning of this window.
Insane season.
I really wanted him, but we're not going to get him. So, but he would.
He's going Germany, from what I've heard.
He was going to Leipzig, I think. Yeah, they're using the Nkunku money on him.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick one other player,
I've got one for you.
Tell me.
Iconic. He at one point during his Madrid tenure, he wore the number 5 shirt. They compared him with prime Sergio Ramos.
Jesus Vallejo? Oh, come on, man! Don't do that to me.
No, I'll take him, please.
We have more center backs than I could possibly need, alhamdulillah. But
please,
no, I would love Chukwueze, but if we're saying people that aren't like real targets, then I wanted Milinkovic-Savic. Funnily enough, after all the conversation we had, but I wanted him when we had Tonali, because to me Tonali, Benacer, that would have been a trio of like, okay, we can really that's some heavy hitters, you know, and like to me it's like I want what we used to have. We used to have Tonali, Kessie, and Benacer, where it's like any combination of the 2 we can win with that. You know. We don't have that anymore. We just have the 2, and we need a 3rd guy. I guess Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I
call it that midfield of if it happened, Tonali, Benacer, and Milinkovic.
No, it can't happen now. Now that they sold Tonali.
Second question for you: rank me your top 3 best players that you have seen
ever.
Forever.
Oh, for AC Milan. Okay. Kaká number 1.
Easy.
Ibra number 2. And best players. Man. Oh, that's tough. I'm between Seedorf, Nesta, and Thiago Silva.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give it to Nesta.
Interesting, because I've
But
got
they're all
another
cool.
question. I've got a question for Nesta after.
Okay.
Keep your opinion on Nesta, because I've got a question about Nesta. I bet that's my last question. Well, my second last, because I'm going to ask you about Benzema as well. My second last. The third one here is funny enough about Kaka. Where does Kaka, in your opinion, where does he rank? Because I gave you my ranking, my four midfielders that I've got in table 1: Iniesta, Xavi, Zidane, and Modric. Where do you think Kaka rank amongst the best midfielders we've ever seen?
In terms of ability,
In terms of
right.
overall, of course, it's a bit tough because his Madrid tenure. We all know what happened.
To me, at his peak, there might have been like 5 better players. What man? Like, he was my introduction to football, man. He was just when I was like a real kid, and I didn't really watch like all the games and stuff, but like what he can do with the ball, the way he could play in transition, and the way how fast he was, how strong he was, his goal scoring ability, all that kind of stuff. Like I find it hard to put anybody next to him when when it's in terms of peak. He just gave me so many moments that even when I'm trying to be unbiased, I don't know. Like when they compare him to De Bruyne, like yeah, numbers wise they're comparable, but he didn't. De Bruyne has never made me feel the way that dude made me feel. The pace and the speed and all that stuff from midfield. Yeah, I think he's overall he's gonna not be in the top 10. He's gonna be like, because if you have to think about all the historic players and all that kind of stuff, but like he's top 25, maybe top 30, something like that.
I still remember his goal. Literally, I can see it. The goal, the second goal, Old Trafford.
Oh my god! I mean, you know the underrated thing about that? People don't realize that 2017 sucked. It wasn't good. It was not a team that should have been winning the Champions League.
No,
but we had him and we had Seedorf, and they carried us on every single level. Like that was Seedorf's last year, where it was like he was the guy, and Kaká, that was his first season where it was like, oh man, like this guy is just. That, I mean, he won the Ballon d'Or, obviously. That team was not good because everybody looks at it on paper and it's like, oh, Maldini, oh, this guy and this guy. It's like, yeah,
but they were aging.
It was wobbly. Exactly, it was wobbly. It was wobbly at that point.
But at that goal, the chip and the header and the finish.
It's just like he did things like even we won in the round of 16 in that same year. We beat Celtic 1-0 on aggregate. That's the kind of team we were, right? And he just, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he just dribbles past. He just lays the ball off like 20 yards, and he just boom. And it's like, what is that? How are you supposed to defend that? Or the goal against Argentina that he had for Brazil.
Oh,
like midfielders are not supposed to be that athletic. They're not.
Bro, that's why it makes me laugh when people tell me about KDB nowadays, and they say, "Oh, KDB, the prime KDB belongs with the best midfielders." But bro, have you not seen others like Kaka? Bro, that's no comparison between what Kaka can do on with the ball and what KDB, bro. Let me ask you about a man who I think he is. Let me say this with full respect, with respect. In my opinion, he's the biggest league fraud we've ever seen.
Okay, Ancelotti.
I'm not. Listen, a lot of my followers, they know I'm not a fan of Ancelotti at all, at all. For me, before I say what I feel, my question to you, and your answer, wallahi al-azim, bro, it better be yes. Did he underperform with your team?
Okay, the thing is that question has nuance. So, okay, yes, on paper he underperformed, right? But this is the thing. I think, and a lot of, even some Milan fans say like, oh, he underperformed and all that. It's just true. He only won one league title, and well, he won 2 Champions Leagues, so
Finished
that's not really
second
underperforming.
in another. That's it.
I know. But this is the thing you have to understand about that time. Berlusconi is not a normal owner. Berlusconi didn't give a fuck about the league. He didn't. Right? All he wanted was the Champions League. And in the Champions League, if you look at it like that, he came in 2003 and we won it. 2004, I mean, Jesus Christ, the Deportivo La Coruña thing was ridiculous. But I really believe they would have won it if they hadn't collapsed in that way. Then you have, well, Istanbul, which, I mean, Jesus. 2006, we get robbed against Barcelona in the semifinal. The Shevchenko goal that was disallowed wrongly. And 2007, we win it. And that was it. That was pretty much the last time that team was like super competitive. All the aging and all that kind of stuff. If you look at it that way, yes, he underperformed in the league repeatedly. At the same time, he had 2 of the best teams in the world against him. Like Inter back then and Juve back then were not scrubs. They were like legit serious teams, right? So I'd say, yeah, overall, given the talent level, he underperformed in the league. But in the Champions League, it's still 3 finals in how what was it, 5-6 years? 3 finals in 6 years,
6 years,
and 2 out of 6. Like it's not a disaster. Is all I'll say.
Nah, man, you're giving him a pass, bro. You're giving him a pass.
I
Now,
am.
For me,
because in my opinion, 2 Champions Leagues gets you a pass.
That's what he's done with my club, and that's
right.
why. Listen,
and you act like you care about the league, but then you win the Champions League and you no longer care. Come on,
listen, bro. I will always be grateful he brought us to La Decima. I will forever be grateful because we've been trying to win that shit for years.
Of course, yeah.
We've been trying to win that shit for years.
That was the biggest one. The one
that was and that season we were playing beautiful football. He was the one that made Di Maria from a winger as an 8. He changed it. And I love him to bits for that. The following season, that's where my agenda with Ancelotti starts. The following season, he's got a habit of not rotating his team.
I agree.
The following season, we should have won that league title if he had rotated the team, which he didn't completely. We lose the league towards the end of the season. Last season, people told me, no, not last season, the season before, people told me, Carlo Ancelotti won Real Madrid, another Champions League. Bro, did you watch us play against Paris Saint-Germain, against Chelsea, against Liverpool, against City? Did you watch us play? It was 3 players. It was Vinicius, Benzema, and Courtois. Mm-hmm. We've got no tactics, bro. It's vibes and eyebrows.
Look, I agree with everything you just said, but this is the thing. At the top level, with the players you have, the reality is it doesn't take that much coaching. It honestly doesn't. You know what it takes more than anything? Keeping everybody happy, right?
And he's the perfect manager to pretty much do that.
Exactly. That's why. Because that's why he wasn't gonna do. To be fair, actually, he did better at Everton than what they have done since him. But still, like he was never gonna be incredible at Everton because he's just not the manager anymore. He used to actually be in his younger days at Parma and at Juve. He used to be like the tinkering, all that kind of stuff. But now, since he came to Milan and since he came to Chelsea and Madrid and PSG and all that, exactly. In that time, he's just been the guy who keeps everybody together, right? And to me, especially at Real Madrid, that matters a hell of a lot.
100%.
And it's not as much, but it's almost as much as the coaching, in my opinion. Because you can bring, like, to me, it's like this. You can't bring Thomas Tuchel to, maybe this right now, your locker room is like, they're youngsters, right? A lot of young players. But back in the day when he joined for La Decima, that was a hellish fucking locker room to walk into, right?
Yes. And it happened, a lot of people don't know this, which I give him credit for. It happened straight after the massive disagreement of Jose with the Spanish players, with the Portuguese players. I respect him for that.
That's why he was the perfect manager to come in at that moment exactly, because he was going to get everybody on board. Everybody loves him. Except for Bayern players because they're losers. But everybody loves him.
Hey, hey! If we talk about what Bayern Munich did behind his back, come on, man.
Bro, those Bayern players were such losers. They were like, "Oh my God, we're not training so hard." It's like, yeah, he did it with Milan and all the players. The players at Milan always say like they liked it. We're not children. All the players at Milan at that time were like, we're Champions League winners. We're league winners. We're the best of the best of the best. We don't need you coming in here and like micro managing us. We were good with how they operated, and the same thing happened at Madrid. Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos. They don't need a guy. They don't need a guy. And I agree. Like, okay, and people will say, "Oh, well, Pep does that." Well, yeah, because Pep is the best of both worlds. Pep gives you the people management and the elite coaching. He's the best ever. So you leave him out of the conversation. But just being able to get Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, all these guys on the same page, that's hard. Like Ronaldo and Bale. Think about how hard that shit is.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm not expecting you to come in and give us a full tactical masterclass. I don't want that. And I'm not expecting it from Carlo Ancelotti. At least, though, show some tactical flexibility in certain games. What pissed me off the most about last season against City, where we lost disgracefully, bro, 4-0 away from home. What pissed me off is 12 months before that, we go to Etihad, we lose 4-3 before we won the second leg. Right. He played a 3-man midfield because Casemiro got suspended. He played a 3-man midfielder, Toni Kroos as a 6, which pisses me off. Luka Modric and Fede. Yeah?
And he does it again, yeah.
When you've got Chimeni on the bench and you've got Camavinga, you're wasting his potential as a left back. That's what annoys me the most. This season, bro, there's been no flexibility tactically.
No, I agree. This iteration
it's not having you there or me.
Yeah, I know. This iteration of Madrid with the young players who actually need to be coached and improved, yeah, that's not Ancelotti's game. You know, he's the guy who comes in when the team is right at the edge and he just wants to push you up. But you guys have a bunch of players that still need to improve. You know, he's not that guy. I agree with that. He's not the guy who to do that job.
But long story short, he underperformed. Thank you very much. Let's be real, bro. Like, the guys won 5 league trophies, 1 with each club in 25 years of management. Come on, bro.
Come on, man. Though this is the thing that people always say. But 5 league titles, we're the only
bro.
5 league titles is a lot.
Bro,
they can't all be Pep, man.
One with Bundesliga. I'm not taking that seriously. I'm not, my uncle back from Iraq.
Okay, fine. Yeah, could be. Yeah, okay. The Bayern
with PSG, where PSG had
that was their first one. That was their first one. That one matters. Come on, that one matters. It matters. It was their first one. That one matters. So wait, okay. Actually, I have a question for you now. So do you feel the same way about Zidane?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people who just go like, "Oh, he was lucky" and all that. And I'm just like, I don't think you can luck yourself into 3 Champions Leagues and a league title, and then another league title when he came back with the best defense in the league. Like,
yes.
They all act like all his teams played the exact same, but they didn't. That last team played very different.
Zidane played 3 different styles.
Right.
The first season, the second season, where he had the balls when no one else could, he benched Bale and played Isco as a 10. Throughout the whole 16, 17, and next season. What I respect him the most, not even the 3P. The 3P, in my opinion, 90% came down to the players. Came down.
Of course. But it always comes down to the players.
It comes down by his second tenure, coming back and winning La Liga. And that season, bro, we had over 50 injuries, 60 injuries. We had over, bro, the highest injuries ever seen by a club. We had over 60 injuries that season, bro. No one has ever had more than us. We won. But what annoyed me the most is that we go to Chelsea, away from home, semi-final, Stamford Bridge. Guess who plays right wing back? And bear in mind, Zidane never plays 5 at the back. That was the first time he tried it. Guess who plays right wing back? Just try, give it a guess.
Hell if I know. I don't know. Fucking Valverde.
If I tell you, you'll be crazy. Vinicius Jr.
Vinicius Jr. played right wing back. Jesus.
Ramos,
Man.
he played Ramos as a starting 11 when he just came back from a long injury. And people think what? People think Tuchel did a masterclass. Come on, man, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Just watch the game, man. Oh man.
No, I agree. I've always been a Zidane supporter in that, like, I think it's just insane that people treat him like that.
No, it's disrespect.
Yeah.
But I see what he's doing. He's very smart. He pick and chooses the right
Yeah.
project for him, which is very smart.
It's the same thing they do with Pep. It's like, oh, why didn't he go coach a shit team? It's like, why would what are you? I'm in IT. Am I gonna go to a shit company and be like, what the hell? Why would I do that? Like, at the end of the day, like, people say like, oh, Pep's stuff wouldn't work with worse players. Like, yeah, and neither would Klopp stuff. Nobody's tactics would work better with worse players.
Facts.
If the tactic is play the ball in this style, and there's worse players doing it, the style's gonna suck. Like, it's just
Facts.
there's nobody winning with lack of talent. That's I'm always of the opinion that the manager's impact is always overstated. I really believe that. In that,
I agree.
it's
certain managers.
No, but to me, it's like this. Okay, Pep is a genius. Don't get me wrong. Okay, Pep is a genius. But if he didn't have the best players, he wouldn't have the best team. It's just like,
easy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't blame him for that, right? He took that Barcelona team and made them the greatest team ever. But like, it wasn't like they had Tito Villanova and got 100 points. Like, they weren't going to be bad. That collection of talent was never going to be anything other than a great team. He just made them the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Correct. No, I agree. What goes Germany? Germany wins the World Cup, in my opinion, because of him.
I agree.
England, you saw England before Pep came to England, they were underperforming. He comes in semi-finals and the World Cup finals and the Euros. But yeah, it was going to be my last question before I'm going to ask about Benzema. Start, sub, sell.
Okay.
You might not have seen. I'm sure you haven't seen one of them. You weren't alive for one of them.
Okay.
And the two was past your prime. One person was just about to retire, but I'm sure you are a love of the game the same way I am and your thing. Start, sub, sell, Maldini, Baresi, and Nesta.
Oh, that's not that hard. Maldini, start, bench, Baresi, cut, Nesta. That's not that hard. No, I'm serious though. If you like know the history of Milan, that's not a hard one, unfortunately. And I think Nesta, by the way, Nesta is one of the greatest center backs ever. Like, I put him up there with like the modern game as in like the stuff I kind of watched. Ferdinand, Terry, John Terry, Nesta, like those are the guys that go in that bracket. Yeah, but no, compared to those two, no.
You know what? That's why, bro. That's why I love chatting to Milan fans, because you guys are the only bunch of people. If you speak to anyone else but a Milan fan, everyone the order would have been completely different. It would be Maldini first.
It is Maldini first. No, I put Maldini as starter.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I said Maldini start, bench Baresi, and cut Nesta.
I bugged.
What did you think I said?
I bugged. I heard Nesta, Baresi, Maldini. I bugged.
No. Maldini is definitely number one.
Yes. I bugged. I thought you were about to sell Maldini. Fast. What do you think Ramos is then? Where is he amongst the best centre backs ever?
Oh, I mean, he's with those guys that I just mentioned. I mean, like, in terms of the thing is, I usually don't go that far back, like Baresi, Baresi's time. I usually don't go that far back, but if we did, he's in the top 10, I guess, or something. I don't know. Like, if you top. But this is the thing. If we're putting people like Beckenbauer in it, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I hear you.
Then I never watched him. I don't know anything about him. So, but like, his legacy is top 5, right? So you have to kind of put it. But if we're putting modern players, like, to me, the modern guys are Rio, John Terry, Nesta, Thiago Silva, Ramos. I put Virgil van Dijk.
PK,
I put exactly PK, who I always think is massively underrated.
very
Uh,
underrated.
right, like yeah, Ramos is towards the top of that group for sure. Even though I was a hater when he was in his prime, mainly because I'm always a Madrid and Barca hater. But like I was a hater in my prime, but at the end of the day, you can't argue with what he did. Like even if you don't have to like Madrid, you don't have to do whatever. His stuff speaks for itself. You know,
Easy, bro.
it's the
He's
same thing with Pica. Yeah,
for me, bro. For me, I might be biased. People in the comments might say, "What the hell are you talking about?" But for me, he's the best centre backs. Defensively, he's not top five. He's not even top six, top seven, top eight. But if we're talking about the complete package as a play, as a centre
yeah.
back, clutchness, the leadership, the goals, defensively, he's very underrated. By the way, people think he's very mistake prone, and the thing is, that's what I hate about today's generation of fans. Yeah, they think the more yellow cards, the more red cards you have, that means they determine that with how you are defensively, which is completely the opposite. Which is what I don't understand with these kids. You know what, Twitter, yeah, bro, you've
That
got
the thing with Twitter is that it's made it seem that you can't make mistakes. So, for example, it's made it seem like every center back is now worse than every center back that used to play because we see these guys' mistakes all the time.
Mhm.
And we never saw it's like, okay, I mean, if Nesta and all these guys never made any mistakes, why did they ever concede goals? Like somebody had to do something wrong, right? So but at the same time, it's tough. I just also think that's not how football is supposed to be judged. Like when people say, "Oh, this guy was like," for example, Zidane. There's the Twitter movement where it's like, "Oh, he's only rated for the moments, only all that kind of stuff. That he was overrated if you watch him every week and whatever." I'm like, maybe that is how football's supposed to be viewed. Maybe you're supposed to not watch every single second of every single game and
yes,
analyze every
yes,
single little thing about a player.
yes.
Maybe it's not, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we're doing too much, and how it used to be was actually the right balance in the middle, where you saw just the pure greatness of a player and the legacy mattered a little bit more. I think that, but that's probably like if Van Dijk played 30 years ago, we would talk about him like he's something crazy because of the 2 or 3 or 4 years stretch that he had.
Absolutely, but that's how the impact of social media, bro.
Yeah.
You can't make a mistake now. Ronaldo, look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo before Juve, no, I know actually before Juve, before he came to Man United, Ronaldo was regarded as at least minimum the second greatest player of all time. After he left United, now that's emotion on online or throughout everyone. Is he even top five? Is Ronaldo even top five now after the thing?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Yeah,
I
that's great.
always I always think like the best time to make an opinion on anything in football is right when it happened. Right when you watch the game, right? Like for example, my biggest example for that is that right after that World Cup final, right? Right after that World Cup final, you were like, Mbappe, that was incredible. What he did was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable. That was everybody's reaction at that moment. And then 3 weeks later, everybody's like, well, he didn't do anything until the 70th minute, right? And it's like,
I don't
okay.
know. Combine it with people saying, "Well, he scored two penalties, and then the penalty."
And it's like, but that's not how you felt like in the moment. In the moment when you had just watched it, right? That was the correct opinion. It was one of the greatest things you had ever seen because the moment of the state of the game, when somebody scores that second goal, he could have skied it. It was an off the volley. He could have taken an extra touch, but no. The greatness is in shooting it right then and there how it is.
By the way, I've watched this sport for over 20 years. That was one of the most stone cold things I've ever
Bro,
seen.
it was.
I was the balls to do it on a turn and the
I
volley.
know. I know. That I said it in my video that I did that day. I said the amount of players that take it off the volley are on one hand.
Yeah,
The amount of players that have the confidence in their ability that they never even think, should I take a touch? All they think is, that's my chance. And like the ability to do that, yeah, it's
no,
incredible.
it's insane. But all right, cool. Last question. It wasn't going to be my last question, but I'm going to add it now. Karim Benzema over, let's say, you know what? Forget before 2000, yeah?
Mhm.
From 2000 to 2023, so the past 23 years.
Yeah.
How many strikers, in your eyes, has been better than Karim Benzema?
Luis Suarez.
Of course.
Um,
Can I mention name and you say yes or no?
okay, sure, let's do that.
Luis Suarez,
Yes.
Lewa Golski,
It's tough, man. He scored so many goals, man. I'll just go with my gut. I'll say no. I'm gonna put my preferences aside, and I'm just gonna say about the player. I'm gonna say no.
cool. Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yes. I probably overrate him a little bit, but I also think he's just generally underrated. Like people always look at his league stats and they go like, "Oh well, he scored 17 goals for Inter." And it's like, okay, you know what he won that year? Player of the year. And then the next, like, his ability. I mean, kind of like Benzema, just cannot be quantified by the goals. He scored every year when he in Serie A when he won Player of the Year. There was somebody who scored more than him, but it was but nobody wasn't ever in doubt about who the best player in the league was. It was always him.
I agree, but
I also think he's betrayed by the fact that he had so many clubs.
yeah, that I agree with 100%. And I feel like the lack of Champions League is also hurting hurting his legacy. Eto,
Of course. Yes.
better than Benzema.
Yeah. I mean, I have Eto's number 2 or number 3 with Thierry Henry.
Drogba,
No, hell no.
cool.
Sorry, I
Titi,
said that like I don't rate Drogba. I do rate him, but no, he's not better. Like, okay. Yeah, no, Henry is definitely better. For sure.
R9. Are we going to include R9? Technically, we are R9.
I mean, post 2000, no, but over the whole career, yeah, he's better. In my opinion.
Is there anyone else that we're missing, guys? You know what? I'm gonna tell you one thing about Benzema.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how I can spot a casual in front of me?
What's that?
And on Twitter, I would say 80%, 70. You know what? I'm being a bit too harsh, maybe. 70 to 80% of Twitter, in my opinion, are all casuals.
Okay, but I think most people do rate Benzema.
Nah. How, in my opinion, I could be wrong. How people mentioning names now, but I'll say how I spot a casual in my eyes. If you tell me Karim Benzema has only been good after Ronaldo left, that's how I know you don't watch Real Madrid and you don't know who Karim Benzema is.
Okay, I think that sentiment is not true. Like he obviously was good before Ronaldo left, but at the same time, you also have to admit that there were years that everybody wanted his head on a spike.
Correct. Not everyone. Not everyone. No,
I know not everyone, but there was a 5-goal season, man. You can't escape a 5-goal season.
Okay, a 5-goal season, but if you go, but that's what people. That's what. If you go back a season before that, he scored 20.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. There was a 20-goal season, and everybody was good, and then there was a 5-goal season, and that's what I say. It has to be judged on the moment. I think there's a lot of stuff at that moment. What people thought was this is crap, and there's a lot of now rewriting because he skyrocketed after Ronaldo, right?
100%. No, but I'm not saying his game took a different a turn because he became less as that person who was the team player, became more as the leader that we expected him to be. But what annoyed me is that people think his career is only after Ronaldo. Like people think Benzema.
No, of course not. Even in terms of just scoring, some of his highest seasons were with Ronaldo. Yeah,
bro, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't be third all-time a Champions League top scorer of only doing it 2 years.
No, I agree.
People
For
forget
sure.
that he scored 7 seasons at Madrid. 7 seasons, he scored 20 more league goals. What, you think it's only happened last season or the season before? That's what the narrative about Benzema is so, for me, so casual. Because a one season wonder, you had 2 years, a thing. Bro, his career's been there for since. I'm not saying, of course, it's been as impactful and as influential as it was last season. I'm not saying that, but it's still elite. For me, call me biased, call me crazy. Minimum, he's easy top 5, 100%. That's no way you can tell me, you can name me 5 strikers better than Karim Benzema over there. No one, in my opinion, you know what? I'll give you a hot take.
Okay.
No one has had an individual season in the Champions League like Karim Benzema had 2 years ago. And that includes Ronaldo.
It's one of them. It's
and
one of them
Messi.
for sure. It's definitely one of the best. Yeah. I mean, you
No
can make
one
the
was
argument.
expected to carry his team on his back.
Yeah.
And his Robin to his Batman was a 19-year-old player.
Yeah. I'll say he had how I say it's like he had the most influential goals on an unexpected team to win. Okay, they're Real Madrid, so I guess they're not that unexpected, but that team was crap. I mean, Jesus. You guys, genuinely, that Champions League win was the first time I was like, yeah, the best team doesn't win. The best
Chelsea,
and it's also
2012 come close though.
Oh no, actually fair. That is the truth. But also that season, your title, your Champions League win was also when I was like, Champions League DNA is real. I totally believe that. I totally believe that. I just think, and even if I'm not talking about it like some mystical thing. Let's talk about it like adults. You know, like scientifically. If you concede a goal, right, and you're a Real Madrid player, what do you remember? You in your head. What does Modric and Kroos and Benzema and all these guys think? What do they think in their head? They think, well, we went down against Atleti, right? And Ramos scored. And we went to penalties against Atleti, and we won. And we went down to Bayern, and we won.
Wolfsburg,
and we went back to Wolfsburg, and all these different teams, right? The point is, in your head, you're remembering what? The comebacks, right? If you're a PSG player, and for a long time, if you were a City player, right? You go down, in your head, you're thinking, oh, fuck, man, not again. Not again. You're thinking, oh, man. PSG is thinking, man, we screwed up against Barca. Damn, man, we lost against Madrid. That's what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. And just psychologically, I just don't see how anybody can say that doesn't play a part. It for sure plays a part. In your head, one team is thinking about the times they've come back, and the other team is thinking about the times they didn't. That's the fact of the matter. Like, that's, and to me, it's just factually that will matter. Now, does it supersede? City won it this year because they were so overwhelmingly, so much better than everybody else. Talent-wise and everything, nobody could compete. So they won it, right? Sure, then you could break the DNA. But if it's close, if the game gets nervy, like it was last year. Last year, Madrid and City had similar level talent, right?
Yes.
And when push came to shove, when it just needed that little tiny bit more, Madrid had it and City didn't. And if the talent is close, Madrid will always have it. That's why they keep winning. That's
100%. And that's what helped with Benzema having the season that he had, which for me, bro, like I said earlier, the greatest individual season in the Champions League we've ever seen. A hat-trick against Paris Saint-Germain. Hat-trick against Chelsea. Man. 2 goals against City. And in the final, of course, he doesn't score. By the way, his goal got disallowed. It annoyed me. It annoyed me that his goal got disallowed.
I don't remember. Did you? I honestly, that was
in the final of Liverpool, first half. Got disallowed, which was the wrong decision as well. The wrong decision. But hey,
I honestly don't remember because that game was that day was a crazy day because I was in Jordan and we were trying to watch it at a coffee shop, and the coffee shop had one of those like stolen boxes, and then it crashed. And we literally had to all get up, get our shit, run to find somewhere else to go watch it. Oh my God, you don't understand how crazy I was that day. But hey. Yeah, so maybe I missed it. I don't know.
You might have. I can't lie. You might have. But yeah, got disallowed. But hey, listen, Vinicius scored, and Vinicius became the Vinicius he is.
Indeed.
Guys, I hope before actually, you guys have got. Let's end it maybe 15. Let's give it 15, 20 minutes, guys. If you guys got any questions, just ask.
Yeah,
Ask in
actually,
comments, and then we're gonna end it with. In the meantime, bro, you can think of a hot take. I wanna get a hot take from you after all the questions done. Yeah, give me questions. So let's start asking questions.
sorry, 1 second. I have to get something real quick.
No, it's all good, bro.
My shit's about to run out of charge. I'm gonna charge it. All right.
Someone asked. Cool. That's not a question actually. Someone asked. We kind of asked it earlier, but why are you an AC Milan fan?
I said before,
Yeah.
I can't really fully explain it. I just remember when I was like 11 and I really was about to get into, I was really getting into football. I guess from the games that I had watched and like playing FIFA and all that kind of stuff, like Milan was just a club. I don't remember it ever being like a decision. Like I sat down, I'm like, I want to support that team. I just remember it was like when I started watching games, it was like I want to watch a Milan game, and that's it. From there.
This is a good question. When will Serie A a team win the Champions League, and who?
I don't know honestly. I mean, I'm gonna say Milan. Why not? Why the hell not? They're all crap. So I guess Milan has as good of a chance as anybody else. But like, if anything, this season showed me it could be whenever you get a luck of the draw. And then I mean, the way Inter played against City, hey, I mean, anybody can win it.
So, no, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think it's gonna be Napoli. I think Napoli's got the closest.
As of right now, yeah, but they're also gonna lose all those players at some point. That's the reality. Yeah.
Easy. Someone asked. I've already asked that question. Who's your favorite Milan player of all time? You answered Kaká. This is actually a good one.
No, that was the best Milan player of all time.
Oh, who's your favorite?
Player. My favorite is Gattuso.
Ooh,
he's always my favorite.
Interesting.
He is actually a big part of the reason I'm a Milan fan.
That's interesting.
And I
wait. Actually, in that case, you know what? Let's open up then. Why Gattuso then?
From when I was a kid, I was the kid who in PE or whatever they call it, I wanted to play defense. I was the kid who was like slide tackling and doing shit like that. I don't know why, but like from when I started watching football, like ruggedness and stuff like that, I always loved it. So I mean, he's like the embodiment of that. Like to the point where when Milan were in the Champions League, my team was Atleti. Dude.
Well, you're telling me you're a Diego Simeone fan?
Oh my god, dude, I'm all in. I'm all fucking in, man. That shit was so much fun. Watching them defensively frustrate teams. Oh my god, I'm a crackhead, I know, and everybody says that about me when I say that the kind of football I like. But yeah, I like physical fucking defensive.
You're a haywan, bro. That's what you are, bro. You tell me what Diego Simeone, bro. You enjoy that? Come
on, man. No, not right now. But when
I'm just, I know.
Prime, man, that shit was something special.
Ooh, this is a good one. Is Neymar the best Brazilian you've ever seen?
In my life?
Yes.
No. On Prime, no, it's still Ronaldo. Look, I don't think they're that far away. I think that you could go with either one. I'm good with it.
Well, you think Dino is better than Neymar?
Gun to my head, if I had to get one game, yeah, I'm taking Dino. But I also I just don't think they're that far away from each other. They're right next to each other, in my opinion. Primes. If you want to talk career, then it's Neymar by far. But primes, I think.
Career, bro. If you want to talk career, Dino got a World Cup and a Ballon d'Or to his name. Neymar doesn't.
No, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you want to talk more than just the prime, like they're all the seasons they played. Neymar has Neymar has like 7 seasons you could stack up against everybody, and Ronaldinho has like 2 or 3. Right? Now those 2 or 3 were like some of the best seasons anybody's ever played ever, right? But if you want to expand it and say the whole career, all the seasons they played, Neymar has a better catalog in my opinion.
I hear it. Who's your favorite Serie A team apart from Milan?
I hate them all. But if I had to, I hate them all. But if I had to pick one, uh, I liked Atalanta for a while, but then they got good enough where they were competing with us, so I didn't like them anymore. So that's my closest answer. But generally, I just don't like Serie A clubs that aren't Milan.
Let me have a look to see. That's a couple more. This is dead, but you know what? I might as well ask it. Thiago Silva, Ramos, Jerome
Come on,
Boateng.
man. I mean, Boateng's is
Prime.
getting sold so fast, man. Get the hell out of my face with that. Prime. As much as I love Thiago Silva, I'll give it to Ramos. So Ramos starts, and then Thiago Silva benched, and John Boateng. He's not in the conversation. Come on, man. Get the hell out of here, man.
I'm not sure why here. This guy basically used Max Kellerman's quote. Fate of the universe on the line, and the boss have the. I'm picking Ronaldinho. Come on.
I mean, it's man, that guy is incredible.
Someone's asked, I want to start watching Serie A. Which team should I start supporting? From an entertaining standpoint.
From an entertainment standpoint, it's Napoli, like very clearly. But to be fair, actually, if they turn to crap this year, what they're gonna see, I don't know. But in terms of the past season, it was Napoli by far. Yeah, it was that's pretty much. Honestly, I wouldn't really force anybody to. Milan and Inter are the historic clubs. Juve are also historic, but they're so diabolical. Nobody should ever watch them. I would say, yeah.
Prime AC Milan or prime.
Oh, come on, man! It's Real Madrid. Stop it, man! Like it's not.
Alhamdulillah.
Look. At the end of the day, like everybody, this is why I always say Real Madrid's the greatest. Is their club because they've taken a star from everybody else. They took Figo and Laudrup from Barcelona. They took Kaká from Milan. They took Ronaldo and Beckham from United. Who else is it? They took Zidane from Juventus. They took Michael Owen from Liverpool.
From Liverpool as well. Alonso from Liverpool.
Alonso. Right. There's always every player considers Madrid the pinnacle. That's why they're the
You know what? I wanna before we end it, I wanna do a combined 11 before we end it. Before we end it, last three questions. Someone said drop the KDB agenda. Never.
You could have been saying that to me as well. I don't know.
What have you got KDB agenda?
I've tried to rein it back. I said this past season that, you know what, like after the Arsenal game, I was like, you know what, maybe I'm hating on greatness a little bit too much. I still don't like. I'll still pick Kaká over him in those debates and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like he's a great player. Like none of us is gonna sit here and be like he sucks. You know what I'm saying? You know he doesn't suck. Come on.
No. He doesn't suck. Listen, by the way, I don't have an agenda. It's just about, bro. Is it just me? Or City fans have just come out of nowhere over the past 3-4 months.
Oh yeah, all their players are the greatest that anybody's ever seen. The Rodri's the best. Whatever. Actually, I'm sorry. Apologies to Mr. Rodri because I no longer criticize him after that goal.
By the way, shout out to Amir. I love Amir. But he is one of the main reasons why I'm starting to hate Stones. He's out here telling me that on Prime, Stones is the best centre back we've ever seen. He's the greatest.
I think Stones. I love Stones. I think Stones. If Stones could ever play 30 games in a season over and over and over again, then he would have been one. He would have been like that list we said: Ramos, Rio Ferdinand, Terry. If he could play that much, but he doesn't, so he can't. You get what I'm saying?
100%. We've got this person, most underappreciated AC Milan player.
Right now.
Do right now and do all time.
All time, it's Ambrosini for sure. Nobody even Ambrosini.
That's a good one.
Ambrosini hung around. Everybody always says. Okay, sorry, one second. I need to change my chart. I need to charge the thing now. Which is, I think the mic has changed now. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Is it worse?
No, it's the same. It's the same, bro.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good. What I was saying, yeah. People always say it's, Seedorf, Gattuso, Pirlo, and Kaká, right? That's the midfield. Yeah, the fifth guy who's never named is Ambrosini, who played a shit ton of games. He played like 400 Milan games, right? And he would get like 20, 30 starts every year.
Mhm.
you know, and nobody ever mentions him. And if you could stick around on that team with that
You
around
must be
those
good.
midfield,
You
you
must be
must be
good.
good. And also another thing, when Maldini left, right? And I always love to use this example because everybody always wants the captains to be the hardest, like the most vocal guys and stuff like that. When Maldini left, it wasn't Gattuso, and it wasn't Pirlo, and it wasn't Nesta. None of those guys were the captain. They handed it over to Massimo Ambrosini, right? Because we never know what's in the locker room. He was as big a voice as anybody else, you
Mm.
know. So he's the most unappreciated historically. Today, I'd say Tomori because he's gotten so much shit this season, and I understand his performances have slipped a little bit, but he was still our best center back, and people act like he wasn't.
Well, I respect it still. This guy. No. I'm not going to ask you that question. Someone said who's better? I think Hudson Odoi or Liao. Come on, man. Come on. You know what? Two more questions. This could be. Faysal's doing an interview with Rabia.
I Hey man, I don't have enough hair to not get a haircut randomly. I'm getting a haircut in like 2 weeks. I have an event. I can't gamble.
Ooh, someone actually asked a good question. It's not there. What were your thoughts when Pato scored that iconic goal against
Oh my
Barcelona?
goodness. I screamed. So we used to live in an apartment and games were at 9:45 in Jordan, right? The Champions League games. And man, I used to get so many neighbor complaints because of how I used to watch. I'm still loud and very like passionate when I watch, but when I was a kid I was even crazier. Like I'm no, my worst one. My You just remind me of a funny story, but one time, remember when we went up 2-0 against Barcelona and then we lost 4-0 in the second leg?
Mhm.
I remember I got that day I had gotten a bad exam in biology or something, right? And my dad was lecturing me, okay? And I couldn't turn on the game until he was finished. And then he finished, and I turned on the game, and all I see was Messi celebrating the first goal 5 minutes into the game. That stupid goal, he looped it, and I was just like, and because listen, I was a Milan fan, and you know this, all Arabs are either Barcelona or Madrid fans, right? So I was a Milan fan in midst of a sea of Barcelona and Madrid fans. And when we beat them 2-0, it was 2 weeks until the second leg. I gave all the Barcelona fans hell at school. I gave them hell. And then we lost 4-0. The way they ganged up on me that day, that was
Bro,
disgusting.
I remember a thing. You, by the way, you said something very, very interesting, which I'm a person that lives in the UK. People look at me sometimes. Why the hell do you support? Why the hell do you support Madrid and you live in the
I've
UK?
seen that.
Bro, it's I get it all the time, and now I'm used to it. You mentioned something interesting, and someone actually asked that question. Why do you two support a non-British team, even though thing? As someone, I'm an Arab, you're an Arab. I was born and raised back home.
Mm.
As you know, when you're born and raised back home, it's either two teams, bro. People don't look at you
Of course.
and say, "Who do you support?" The first thing they ask you, "Are you
Madrid or
Madrid
Barcelona,
or
yeah.
Barcelona?" That's the first thing
Yep.
they ask you. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes down to most of it, in my opinion, comes down to league coverage. We never had Premier League back
Right.
home. If you
Yeah.
remember, this is goes all the way back,
I
bro.
know.
What was that channel before Al Jazeera? It
It
was
was ART.
yes,
ART Sport.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was La Liga, but by the way, it wasn't just La Liga coverage, bro. It was
Mm-hmm.
just they only showed Madrid and Barca games,
Yeah.
and if you had the money, they'll show you the Serie A games. So back in the 90s, Serie A was popping with
Yeah.
Milan and thing. But yeah, like back, bro. As an Arab, it's only Madrid and Barca, especially if you're born back home. If you're born now in the UK, then understandably
Right.
support English team. But yeah,
Even to this day, like somebody would be like Madrid or Barcelona, and I go Milani, right? And they'll go like, okay, that's cool, but between those two, who are, you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
you had to have somebody. I don't. People don't. I don't think people understand it because I don't know if it was like this everywhere else. But man, like when those classicos when it was Messi and Ronaldo, the world used to literally stop.
Bro.
Nobody was in the streets. everybody was either at home or at coffee shops. And when one of them won, the people would this would be like the regular ass league classical, and people would go out in their cars with whatever the flag of the team that won, and Barcelona or Madrid, and they'd be bleeping their horns or whatever. It was it. It was the pinnacle of. I don't think we'll ever get anything like that ever again.
100%.
The two greatest players on the same team in the same league on two rival teams. It's unbelievable.
Well, I've only watched one during that era, the Ronaldo Messi era. I've only watched one game back home in Iraq. Bro, if I tell you this, yeah, you felt like after the game was done, you felt like Iraq won the World Cup or the Asian Cup.
Yeah.
People would literally just start celebrating, bro. Bro, I was watching it not at the Douani, I was watching it in back home where we are. Barca won that game, but Barca during the Pep era, they kept fucking beating us. They kept beating us. We went out, bro. I'm telling you, Barcelona. It was a shatter, bro. The whole road was full of Barca. It was insane. It was insane. But that's why us Arabs will support those two teams, bro.
For sure.
All right, cool. Let's just go to combined 11. Madrid,
Okay.
Barca.
Milan?
Sorry,
Barca?
sorry. Madrid, Milan.
Okay.
You nominate your person, and I nominate my person for each position. Yeah.
You can have goalkeeper already. We don't have.
Mike
might be my greatest.
I nominate San Iker Casillas.
Of course. Yeah, you can win. I mean, if I had to nominate somebody, it would be Mike Maignan is the actual best goalkeeper we've had. And in terms of history, it's like
Dida.
Sebastian. Oh my God, Dida for 2 years before his flare incident was amazing, but after that he was really bad. Sebastiano Rossi is the main one. He had like the clean sheet record, but he wasn't that great. It was about the defense. So no, Casillas wins for sure.
Cool. As a right back, I nominate one. You nominate one. Okay. Most like, you know what? I'm gonna go with yours.
Careful, mine's gonna win.
Yeah, let's not waste any time on this one. Let's not waste.
Who are you? Actually, who are you? Where are you gonna? Where is it gonna be? Carvajal.
It has to be Carvajal.
No.
Like you can give it to Salgado, you can give it to Ramos when he was a right back.
Nah,
it's Danny Carvajal. Left back, I'm nominating my person, bro.
Okay, I mean
I'm not giving it to you.
You could be wrong. That's your God-given right to be wrong, but like it's very clearly Maldini. Come on.
No,
we're talking about left back, not left winger. We're talking about left back.
Oh, whoa, man, chill out. Chill out. Chill out. I'm putting Maldini as a centre back. I'm not putting Maldini as a left back.
No. Maldini was only a centre back when he got old. That doesn't count.
And I'm taking old Maldini into account then.
Sorry, 1 second. I need the battery damn thing. Oh, please don't turn off. If I die.
And I'm taking old Maldini into account. My left back, bro, is the greatest left back we've ever seen.
No,
the most influential left back we've ever seen.
I promise you.
The only left back in the history of this beautiful game, of the history of soccer, who would influence a game by himself.
No. What? But no, sorry. There's too many ways to influence the game for you to say that. No, I disagree. I hardcore disagree. Sorry.
And people in the comments saying about the colors. Fuck no, man.
Oh no, okay, no, we agree on that. It's not. If there's a Madrid representative, it would be Marcelo. But no,
100%, bro. Marcelo would do things that we have never ever witnessed a left back do.
Agreed. He did things like a left winger. Maldini Maldini did things as a left back that we've never seen defensively and offensively. He was the okay. We're just not gonna agree, but
okay. How about this? How about we compromise and put Maldini as a centre back?
Sure, but I just don't think that's the way it should go. He was our left back. Like his centre back years were not his best years.
Okay, no, listen. I don't think we're gonna agree with it.
Okay.
There's two centre backs. Who do you have?
Ramos and Barez.
For me, I've got Ramos and Maldini.
Okay, that's fine. We could work with that. Okay.
Three man midfield.
Okay.
You give me yours, and I'll give you mine.
We're talking about all history.
All history.
Give me Frank Rijkaard. I haven't watched him, but everything I've ever read, everything I've ever watched, everything I've ever heard, yeah, everybody swears that guy was like different.
So who's
I
your
go
two
Frank
others?
Rijkaard. Frank Rijkaard, probably Sidor, Frank Rijkaard.
Nah,
Why?
bro. Combine.
Oh, combined. My bad. Sorry. Uh,
I was like, I was like, raw. You're
no.
biased.
I'll do Rijkaard, Modric, and man, one more. It's just such a good collection of players. Like, who the hell are you supposed to? How are you gonna narrow it down? Okay, wait. Rijkaard, Modric. Okay, I have a defensive midfielder and I have a real like an 8 or whatever. Give me Seedorf, man. I'll take it. Who? No, maybe I'm forgetting somebody. So nominate somebody, and maybe I'll be. Yeah.
My three-man midfield would be Piero.
Are you the? But you want Zidane in that 3? I don't know. He's bad.
Me personally, I can't lie, bro. Me personally, if you ask me, Zidane is not even our second greatest Madrid midfielder of all time.
Who is Modric?
It's Modric. No, Modric is not undisputed first.
Oh, okay, yeah, I agree. Modric.
Tony Cruz. Bro, you should know this as well. Zidane's best time never came in Madrid. It came at Juve.
Look, I'll maybe, but at the same time, I don't know. I rate Tony Cruz, but I would still go Seedorf. Seedorf could just do more, and that's not to say that he's necessarily 100% better. I'm not doing that, but Seedorf could do more just physically. First of all, the way he could run and dominate the game in both on and off the ball. I think I would go Seedorf. But if you go Cruz, I'm not. It's not that big of a problem.
Well, if we're basing it on all time and overall, and not necessarily on their time with that respective club, then Zizou has to be in there.
Right. So what are we doing? That's what are we only doing that the club?
No, let's just do the club.
Okay. Then I'll still go.
Then Zidane is not in there. Then you know what I'm saying. My favorite midfield is Piero, Cruz, and
Modric,
Luka, and Magico.
I'll do Seedorf, Rijkaard, and Modric.
Interesting.
Okay.
Left wing undisputed.
Yeah, of course.
Let's not waste any time. It's Jesse.
The thing is, this formation kind of sucks for us. We've never really played wingers historically.
I know.
I'll just nominate Kaká to be my right winger, honestly.
Right wing, it has to be the British. His legacy is being tarnished, fam. But Gareth Bale.
Nah, we'll take Kaká better than that. I mean, I know he's not really a winger, but again, we never had wingers. Like even in all.
You know what? I agree. You know what? I feel bad sacrificing Kaká. I'll put Kaká on the right. I don't mind.
Okay, yeah.
And then up front,
we agree on that.
Up front, it's easy.
Okay, wait. You're putting Benzema? I mean, I'm just saying. Historically, it's Marco van Basten. But fine, I'll give you Benzema. Historically, it's
brother. Have we watched Van Basten play, fam?
That one I have. Yeah.
Van Basten.
Yeah, dude. Those games are easy to find.
No.
I didn't watch.
Okay.
I didn't sit down and watch all 30 games. Yes, of course not.
I can't lie. Listen, if we do history, if we're including the history.
Okay, sure. If we're gonna talk about what we've seen, then take out Rijkaard and put Pirlo, sure. And take out, and you can put Benzema up top, sure.
No. If we talk about history of the game, then it has to be R9 then.
Oh, okay, we can do that. I can go with that.
History of the game. It has to be
R9. I agree. I could do that. I can go with that.
So I'll start 11. History, all time. It doesn't matter whatever it is. Cassius in goal. Cafu, Sergio Ramos. Maldini, Marcelo.
Okay. Well, I'll allow it.
Pielo, you know what? Right. Pielo /Rijkaard. Luka Modric, undisputed. And then we've got either Toni Kroos or Zizou. Kaka on the right hand side.
No, Tony Kroos was Seedorf. Excuse you.
Seedorf. Zizou.
Oh, Zizou, yeah. If we're going all the whole career, yeah.
Ronaldo on the left hand side, and then we've got the striker all time is El Fenomeno.
I know it hurts you to not have Benzema there.
Oh, wallah, it pains me, bro.
But it pleases me to hurt you on that.
Ooh, someone interesting said, if we do an all time, then why is Dinho not in the team?
Why is who?
Ronaldinho.
Oh, I mean, no, but come on, he had one season. He had one season. Like, that's pushing the all-time thing too far. Like, Ronaldo was great at Madrid still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like he had like 3 or 4 seasons of 20 goals plus. So it's not like he was just terrible.
Someone said, why is El Shaarawy not there?
Hey, man, he got me through some dark times. So sorry.
Guys, listen, man. Everyone who's been tuning in, I think at the moment that's 171 people watching us at 12:30 in the morning in the UK time. I think at one point this stream reached, I think, either 300 or 400. I think at one point I saw. But yeah, for anyone who hasn't watched or anyone who would want to rewatch it, it's going to be on the YouTube anyway. Thank you, shukran to my lovely guest. My brother, if you want to promote, I've already put you this. By the way, I clocked you've got 2 channels.
I do? How do I have 2 channels?
Or am I bugging?
I feel like you're bugging, but let me see.
You've of course got the main one, Be There Ball.
Right.
I saw another channel. I saw your face on it for some reason. Siempre Milan.
Oh, no, that's not my channel. That's somebody else's channel, but I do videos for them.
Okay, first. Okay.
Right.
Okay, first. But yeah, if you want to follow my brother, you can follow him, of course, on Be There Ball. Brother, if you want to promote your thing, the stage is all yours.
Well, I mean, you said it, Be There Ball. That's my name. Which I'm assuming is showing. Now I can't speak. And then ball at the end. That's pretty much it. I do videos on there and rants and all that stuff. I mean, you can also subscribe to the Sempre Milan channel, which I do like match reviews and stuff like that on there. I don't really have those on my channel, but yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to. And I hope you guys enjoyed.
Absolutely. Before we end it, it's a nice little tradition. Give me a hot take, brother.
A hot take? Any hot take at all?
It could be any hot take you want to say.
Eden Hazard is one of the most overrated players in the history of the game. That's my hot take. I've always had a huge Hazard agenda. That's the guy I really have an agenda on. It's just he was always in his prime. He was always compared to Neymar. And he was never as good as Neymar. Not even close. He was never as good as Neymar. You think he was as good as Neymar?
No.
Okay, good. Then you agree. He was one of the. He was constantly, but he was constantly pushed up into that conversation of like top 3 Ballon d'Or players. He was compared to like Suarez and Neymar and those. Yeah, he wasn't as good. You want an even hotter take? His prime isn't as good as Griezmann's prime. What Griezmann did in that Atleti team.
You're capping.
What Griezmann did for that Atleti team, playing in that system, can only be replicated by a very select few players.
This ain't it, man. This ain't it, man.
Right, man.
Well, you're telling me you're telling me someone can replicate what Eden Hazard did at Chelsea.
Yeah, Griezmann did. He played for an even more defensive team, and took them to way higher heights. It can be compared. How good they were in the biggest moments. It can. Hazard's biggest. Okay, let me ask you a question. What's Hazard's biggest moment in a Chelsea jersey, or in any jersey at all? But it's it's going to be Chelsea. But what's his biggest moment?
But that's what annoys me. Hazard is not a moment player.
Okay. I agree, but still, every great player has the moments. Every great player. His greatest moment, right?
You could say, his greatest moment, you could either say The goal against West Ham, where he went past everyone and scored. The goal against Liverpool was it was either the
In the
League Cup or
Carabao
the
Cup.
FA Cup, or yeah,
Carabao Cup.
or
Yeah.
the goal against Spurs, which won Leicester the.
Bingo! That's the best, biggest moment he had is the goal that won Leicester the League Cup.
Okay, but why are you not mentioning the season with under Conte, where they won the Premier League?
No,
Down
he
to
was
my
great.
man. Europa. By the
he,
way, his goal in the Europa League final against Arsenal.
but this is what I'm saying.
His
Look at the
performance
achievement.
against Belgium, against Brazil, to knock Brazil out of the. He knocked.
He didn't score. De Bruyne was better than him in that game.
He was the best player on the pitch.
He was not the best player on the pitch.
Guess you won man of the match.
Oh, don't give me who won man. Rodri won man of the match for City. He wasn't the best player.
Oh, he was. If you, bro. I know. You're not a stat merchant. Watch it with your eyes, bro. He was the best.
I have watched it with my eyes. This is my thing. Again, I am not saying he's a crap player. Okay, conceptualize. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He was one of the best players in the world in his prime. Okay, but the players he gets compared to, he was not that good. He was not as good as those players. He was not as good as Luis Suarez, and he was not as good as Neymar, and he was not as good as some of those players in that category.
Bro, you're putting him on with the brackets of the elites of the elites.
But that's who he was compared to. That means he's overrated. He needs to be brought down a peg.
He was probably the only person who could chat to them.
No, he wasn't. He was Salah level, and I love Salah, and Salah is one of the best players in the world. But he isn't. There are Messi and Ronaldo, or in that time there was Messi and Ronaldo, right? Okay, and then there was like the few who could get on the podium with them.
Neymar, Suarez.
Neymar, Suarez. Griezmann was on the podium. He was on the podium. He was on the podium. You can deny it as much as you want. Scoring.
Man.
Bro,
Lampard was on the podium in 2005 with
Dino. There's a difference being on the podium with those guys. And second of all, hold on. You in this same stream admitted how insane it is to play under Simeone. In this kind of style of football they play. To be able to get 20 goals in that team, to be able to drag that team to Champions League finals.
Bro,
that team Hazard couldn't do it. What
Diego Simeone? Hold on, Diego Simeone is known for that though. Falcao, you've got Diego Costa. He's known for that.
Right. And he was better than all of them. Griezmann was better than all those guys.
I'm not denying that, but for you to compare him, like, come on, man. Come on, man.
What? Hazard couldn't even get Chelsea, and you're talking about Chelsea teams that won titles, not some scrub ass Chelsea teams.
Wait. Go Hazard. Wait. Hazard couldn't do what?
He couldn't get them past the fucking quarterfinals.
Semi-finals.
He got them semifinals one time where they got ragdolled by Atleti.
So?
Dude, Adrian and Raul Garcia knocked his ass out, man. And he was nowhere to be fucking seen. And that was his first try. That was one of his first tries at Chelsea. And after that, when they had title-winning teams, they fucked it. Dude, they lost it to PSG with 10 men. And he was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
Go through it. Go through it.
I've seen it.
Who did they lose to? And where was he in those moments?
Okay. But you're giving me bad moments. Why not giving me good moments? Why are you not talking about the season where he carried Chelsea with under Conte? What about the season where they won with Fabregas and Diego Costa?
He didn't carry. Diego Costa had 21 goals that season when they won under Conte.
He was one of the main players there with Conte. What about the season with Fabregas and Jose when they won the league?
Right. He was a great player. What about
the Europa League season? Come on, bro.
Stop saying the Europa League season when we're talking about the Elite League. Stop saying the Europa League season. You know what the hell you're doing, man? The Europa League goddamn season. The Elite don't play in the Europa League. And if we want to do that, then Griezmann has the Europa League too. Woo-hoo.
Hold on, the elites of the elites. You guys was in that tournament for the past how many years?
We weren't the elite. We fucking sucked. What the hell's that have to do with anything?
I had to mention it.
We sucked. Congratulations. Bro, we were so bad. We were struggling even in the Europa League. That's how bad we were.
No, man,
Okay?
I can't lie. You've got you've got crazy agenda.
I knew that was gonna get you. If you love Benzema, I know everybody who loves Benzema loves Hazard. And no, I can't.
You've got crazy agenda.
Again, a great player, one of the greats, but not in the conversation that he was put in. That's all. That's the hot take. It's not that he sucks. It's not that he's terrible. It's not that he never won anything. It's not that he was never the best player on his team. No, it's none of that. It's just that he wasn't in the conversations that he was put in.
Okay. Last question. If when this is all done and dusted, who will be valued higher, Hazard or Muhammad?
Hazard, but I don't think that's right. Or at least, actually, you know what? Between the two of them, between Salah and Hazard, I think that's fair game. You can pick Hazard. I'm good with that in terms of all the things he's won. Personally, for me, I would pick Salah. But if somebody picked Hazard, I'm good. But if somebody picked Hazard over Neymar, no.
Never.
That's what I'm saying. But at the time when they played at the same time, sorry, not against each other, but when they played at the same time, people were genuinely thinking Hazard was in that level, and I just don't think he was.
No, Hazard did go against Neymar. World Cup stage, Hazard cooked. He cooked Brazil. Cooked.
Okay, and
he didn't assist. He cooked Brazil.
Come on, man. Come on, but he wasn't better. We know that.
I'm not saying he was, but I'm just giving you stages. You said give me a moment. I'm giving you moments.
Okay, fine. That Belgium Brazil game. Fine, that's a moment. But still,
but you know what?
It doesn't stack up to everybody else's.
But I just hate it. This agenda of yours, and this narrative about Eden Hazard would have never started if he never had the career that he had with Madrid.
No, that's not true. I used to say this as well when he was at Madrid. At the very least, you could call me insane, but you can't call me biased or like recency bias. I promise you. Unfortunately, my old account is suspended, but I promise you, I was saying the same shit back then. That's one thing. I change my mind sometimes, but if I do, I'll always admit that I changed my mind. I'll admit when I'm wrong, but I didn't change my mind on this. This was always my opinion.
By the way, you will be wrong in about a year from now when Karim Benzema, when he retires, and people start giving him his flowers.
No, they will. They will. I agree with that. But people are lying to themselves.
Top five.
No, sorry. Whatever. The point is, I remember what it was like watching those seasons when he was bad. I remember that. That's all I'm saying. And by the same token, by the way, Hazard had a 0-goal season or something?
Come on, man.
No.
He had it.
Why? What great player gets that? What great player gets to have that and maintain their legacy? What great player? Tell me.
No.
Salah can't do that. He can't do that. If Salah ever had a season like that,
it's different. Salah is known as a goal scorer. Eden Hazard is not known to be a goal scorer.
No. But he wasn't just bad goal scoring wise. He was bad totally. He didn't get assists, and they finished 10th.
Injuries.
Man, his leg must have been amputated if that's the way he played.
I can't. You've got agenda, bro. I can tell.
I told you that was the one agenda I really have. I sometimes I'm unfair to Kevin De Bruyne, but I wouldn't call that an agenda. Yeah, Hazard I call an agenda. That's fair.
It's almost like Hazard had a 20-goal season. What about that?
Hazard doesn't have a 20-goal season.
He does.
Oh no, he's saying Hazard has 2 0-goal seasons. Yeah, gotcha, buddy. He said he had 2 0-goal seasons. Exactly. Dude, there was a stat.
By the way, what's his name? Saad Yuri, bro. You're getting blocked, fam. You're not coming.
Remember that stat, that picture, that goal somebody tweeted was like, Hazard scores his first goal in 364 days. 364 days! Come on, man. No. He forfeited his spot with the elites that day.
You know what? I clocked. I've just clocked that you're not a fan of the beautiful game. You're like
I'm a fan of it.
It's cool, bro.
This is the beautiful game is beautiful because you can play it in so many different ways. That's what makes it beautiful.
No,
The
well,
beautiful game is that there is no right way to play. Everybody can win in every way. You can win playing the way Simeone does, and that's been proven, and you can win the way Pep does, and that's been proven. That's what makes it beautiful. Because in basketball, I do believe there's a right way to play. I do believe that.
yes.
But in football, I don't believe that. I don't believe that's the case in football.
Not really. No. Because bro, in NBA, you've got you've got teams who's won it without even being the best.
No, how do you do that? You have to play a 7-game series, dude. You're always the best if you win the NBA.
Toronto with Kawhi, where they were just fortunate.
That's injury. That's injuries though. That's in every sport. You can always.
I think they were just fortunate. They were just 2015. The Warriors against
but
Cavs.
But injuries are in every sport. Like again, that's not the same. That's not the same. I'm talking about a right way to play.
Yes.
Like, ball movement in the NBA is the right way to play, in my opinion. But there is no right way to play in football. I don't think. There are some ways that are more successful than others.
No. I agree with you because now people forcing this whole 3 at the back. The way
everybody has to play like Pep. Like no, first of all, Pep can do that because of the talent he has, right? And tinker and do all these things because Stones can go into midfield and become like one of the best midfielders in the world somehow. That's not that Pep didn't make him do that. That's God given. He can do that, right? But at the same time, like. Yeah, I just think there's so many different ways to win. I can't even see the comment.
I will just end it with this comment, and that's it. This person, this Rabia guy probably thinks Mason Mount is better than David Silva.
No, why would I? But see, that's insanity. Why would I think Mason Mount is better than David Silva? There's nothing. There's not a number. There's not a.
Hey, Rabia, Rabia looking like is crazy. I can't lie.
That's a crazy mean thing to say, but I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back. I'll get a haircut and I'll come back on this channel and they'll call me some other football looking like.
Well, guys, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Honestly, it's been how long this stream has been going on for 3 hours. A'udhu billah.
Man.
For 3 hours, fam.
Well, how long was the last one?
The last one I did was 2 hours. It was with Neil at Barcelona.
I saw that.
Yeah. But 3 hours. That's a long stream. But yeah, listen, everyone who tuned in, big up for everyone. Like I said, go follow my brother Bide on his channel. And yeah, man, listen, I'm gonna see you guys soon. I've got one that's hopefully should be. I'm doing another one soon with talking about a different. This is what this channel. By the way, bro, this is what this channel's about. Like I live in the UK, which is dominated by Premier League. That's why I create this channel because just to show more respect in it. Serie A, La Liga, different leagues in it. But I should be doing one very soon. The British people are not gonna like it. It's gonna be a stream about how Saudi Arabia has emerged as one of the best, and I've got a massive reporter coming out from Saudi. So yeah, guys, I'll see you guys soon, and take care, man.
See you, man.